Heartiest greetings and a very good morning to Honorable Chief Guest, Guest of Honor, HOIs, HODs, and our eminent guests. I, Soni Setia, with my colleague Stuti Sharma, students from Department of Mechanical Engineering, are your hosts for this inaugural ceremony. We welcome you to the second biennial International Symposium on Fluids and Thermal Engineering, organized by Department of Mechanical Engineering, ACIT, MIT University, Uttar Pradesh, Noida. This will be a two-day symposium starting from 20th of July, that is today, till 21st of July.
Amity University is India's leading research and innovation driven private university. With the blessings of our Honorable Founder President Sir, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, Amity has been able to create an atmosphere of imparting world class education and also nurture budding talent and potential leaders of the future. At Amity, we are passionate about grooming leaders who are not only thorough professionals, but also good human beings with values and sanskars.
I invite all the dignitaries to please come on the stage.
I request our Vice Chancellor, ma'am, HOI sir, Professor Dr. Onkar sir, and Professor Dr. Murlidhar sir to kindly come up on the stage. I would also request Professor Dr. Alok Jain sir to come up on the stage. We welcome you, sir.
Light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity. As sunlight expels the darkness of mind, similarly, blessing brings in our life prosperity and happiness. To make this morning a blessed one, we invoke Goddess Saraswati by kindling the lamp of knowledge and wisdom. For seeking the choicest blessings for the same, I invite our Honorable VC Ma'am, HOIs, and HOD to accompany our highly regarded Chief Guest and Guest of Honor to kindle the lamp. Can we have a huge round of applause?
भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. शारदे मां आज्ञापितासि हमें शारदे मां शारदे शारदे मां आज्ञापितासि है हर तुझसे हम शरण शारदे क्या से हमें तार देता क्या से हमें तार दे माँ. Thank you all. It is an extreme pleasure to have you all with us today. Thus, we'd like to present a token of gratitude. So, may I request Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla Ma'am, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Noida, to kindly felicitate our chief guest, Professor Dr. Onkar Singh, Vice Chancellor, Veer Madhu Singh Bhandari, Uttarakhand Technical University, Dehradun.
Can we have a huge round of applause?
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla ma'am, Vice Chancellor Amity University, to kindly felicitate our guest of honor, Professor Dr. K. Murlidhar, IIT Kanpur.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Professor Dr. W. Selvamurthy, sir, to kindly felicitate Professor Dr. Alok Jain, Director of Center for Personal Talent Management. Thank you. Now I would like to invite our HOD and HOI to kindly felicitate Dr. Selvamurthy Sir, President, MIT Science Technology and Innovation Foundation, MIT University, Uttar Pradesh. Now I request our HOD, Professor Dr. Basant Singh Sikarwar, to kindly felicitate Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla Ma'am, Vice Chancellor, MIT University. Once again, I would like to request Professor Dr. Basant Singh Sikarwar, HOD, Department of ME, MIT University, to kindly felicitate Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Pandey, Director, MIT School of Engineering and Technology. Thank you, sir. We would also like to acknowledge the presence of some of our guest speakers. So I would like to invite our Head of Department and Director Asset to kindly felicitate them.
I request Professor Dr. Ankur Jain, Professor Dr. Andalip Tariq, Professor Dr. Manikant Paswan, and Professor Dr. Mahendra K. Verma to please join us on the stage. Now I'd like to request Professor Dr. Ritu Parnadatta to please come on the stage.
Now I request Professor Dr. Ashutosh Bhatnagar to please come on the stage. Can we have a huge round of applause?
Now I'd like to invite Ms. Priya Vyas to please come on the stage. I'd like to invite Dr. Anurag Singh to please come up on the stage.
I would like to invite Professor Dr. Anil Sharma to please come on the stage.
A huge round of applause, please.
I would like to invite Mr. Sanjeet Kumar to please come on the stage. I would like to invite Dr. Sachin Singh Gautam to please come on the stage.
A round of applause, please. Now I'd like to invite Professor Dr. Shakti Das Gupta to please come up on the stage.
I would like to invite Mr. Dibagar Rakshit to please come on the stage.
A huge round of applause, everyone. Now I am inviting Conference Chair Dr. Basant Singh Sikarwar, Professor and Head Department of Mechanical Engineering, Amity University, Noida. Dr. Sikarwar is a postdoc from Iowa State University, USA, PhD from IIT Kanpur, and Masters from IIT Roorkee, India. He is a great researcher, innovator, and academician with the credit of heading several government and industry projects and serving on multiple government panels and editorial boards. Now, without further ado, I cordially invite Sir to deliver the inaugural address and introduction to Symposium FLUTE 2023.
A very good morning, all of you. Respected Founder President, Sir, Dr. Ashok Chauhan, who joined us online, Honorable Chancellor, Dr. Atul Chauhan, today Chief Guest, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Uttarakhand Technical University, Professor Dr. Omkar Singh Yadav, respected Vice Chancellor, Ma'am, Dr. Balbinder Shukla, Amity University, Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Today event guest of honors, Professor Dr. K. Mullidhar, Senior Professor, Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, Professor M. K. Verma, IIT Kanpur, Professor Anlip Tariq, Head Mechanical IIT Roorkee, Professor Dr. W. Silvamurthy sir, President ASTIF and Chancellor Chhattisgarh University, Dr. Sakti Gupta, Dr. Rakshit Kumar, Dr. Anurag Sharma, many other key speakers, our director, Dr. M.K. Pandey, my faculty members, paper presenter from various parts of India, and my dear students. Today I stand before you to shed light on remarkable event FLUTE in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Amethi University, Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Amethi University has emerged as a leading educational institute, nurturing young minds and empowering them to excel in their chosen field. Allow me to take you a journey through the various facets of Estimate University and Department of Mechanical Engineering. University has always consistently secured impressive NIF ranking and solidified its position among the universities in the country. Its commitment to excel in education research has earned it well-deserved reputation. With numerous campus spread across the different locations in India and abroad, Amethi University provides a conducive learning environment its students. Their campus, spanning over a vast acres of area, serve as a hub of knowledge and innovation. The stellar performance of Amethi University is further evident in its impressive ranking and its accreditation from the recognized body. These accolades validate the university commitment to academic excellence and serve as a testament to its high standard. Driven by compelling vision of mission and Department of Mechanical, Amethi University strives to foster a holistic development in its students. The faculty members who form a backbone of the department possess exceptional qualification and extensive experience in their respective fields. The department has well-settled research facilities and facilitating groundbreaking research projects, collaborations with both government bodies and industry partners. The department offers a wide range of undergraduate, postgraduate programs, attracting students from various academic backgrounds. The strength of these programs lie not only their comprehensive curriculum, but also the exceptional placement opportunity we provided our students. Graduates from the department have consistently achieved the remarkable placement, demonstrating the quality of education research in our department. Additionally, the department encourages our students for international exposure for various programs for their enhancing their career perspectives. The event FLUTE, which stands Fluid and Thermal Engineering, is the second version. The first version we organized in 2021 and it was online. The thematic area of this symposium FLUTE is energy storage and conversion, exploring the field of role of fluid flow and heat transfer in material processing for their various applications. As you know that many distinguished speakers from various locations will grace the event, sharing their expertise and insight on this critical areas. These speakers renowned on their fields and they bring wealth of knowledge and experience to this forum. FLUTE is not just limited to speakers. Attractive participants from across the India and abroad. They are coming and they are participating and they represent their paper. This event provides a unique platform for academic, industry professional, exchange the idea, collaborate and contribute the advancement of knowledge in the domain. In this event, we received more than 300 papers, and out of them, we only selected 100 papers for publication in various Scopus and SCI Scopus papers. These papers and are published to proceeding like a Scopus Index as well as the some good journal of Weigel House. So, we have been always blessed by our respected founder president, sir. Dr. Ashok Chauhan. He joined us online. He himself is a chemical engineer and he has a vast experience in field of academic research. In his past 30 years experience in West Germany, he realized through interacting with the over 6,000 Europeans working for him that we Indians, the intelligent, talent, and the potential to be a more successful people in the world. That's why his mission is a nation building through education and make our country knowledge superpower by 2030. He always believes on God. He quote, when God puts somebody's, inspire somebody's, lead somebody's, no power in the world can stop such a person. Organizing team FLUTES comprises the senior faculty members of the department, including a faculty member, Dr. R.K. Tyagi, Dr. Anup Shukla, Dr. Priyank Srivastava, many others. Their dedication and expertise ensure the smooth execution of the event, providing the memorable experience for all the participants. To acknowledge the contribution and support received, I special thanks to DRDO for providing the fund for organizing this event, and their generous supports enables the successful organizing this event, facilitating the knowledge sharing and collaboration among the expertise in this field. In conclusion, I would like to express our gratitude to the Almighty God for guiding us on this journey of knowledge and discovery. Amity University, with its Vision Chancellor Sir, Vice Chancellor Ma'am, exceptional faculty member, remarkable research facilities, outstanding ranking, continue to shape the future of the education. FLUTE, with the focus of energy conversion and storage, process in material, offer a platform for intellectual discourse and innovations. Let us embrace this opportunity to broaden our horizon and contribute to the advance of knowledge. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the participants and all the keynote speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your address. Moving further, I invite our eminent guests to come forward for opening the symposium proceedings.
I request all the guests to please come forward. Thank you all.
No further first.
Thank you. We are privileged to have among us Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla Ma'am, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. Ma'am, I request you to kindly address the gathering.
Most respected Honorable President, my respected Chancellor Sir, a very distinguished Honorable Chief Guest Professor Omkar Singh, Vice Chancellor, Veer Madhav Singh, Bhandari Uttarakhand Technical Universities, our guest of honor Professor K. Muralidhar from IIT Kanpur, Dr. Jain, my colleagues on the dais, and distinguished guest speakers, my faculty colleagues, and very dear students. It's a great day today that we are having the second edition of Biennial International Symposium on Fluids and Thermal Engineering through 2023. I, on behalf of our Honorable Founder President, Honorable Chancellor, Deans, Head of Institution, faculty members, and the students, extend a very warm welcome to all our distinguished guests. And I would like to congratulate Dr. Basant Sikrawar and Dr. Manoj Pandey for bringing the highly distinguished academicians, researchers, scientists, and bringing us such a great academician, Professor Omkar Singh Ji, the Vice Chancellor, Veer Madhav Singh Bhandari, Uttarakhand Technical University, as the chief guest, who has highly illustrious career, and whereas being the founding Vice Chancellor of Madan Mohan Malviya Technical Engineering College, converting that to a university, and it takes a lot of the hard work and the vision to transform an engineering college into a university, taking the metal to the heading the universities in the hill areas, especially in Uttarakhand or Garhwal, again is a very big challenge. But transforming those universities and leading those universities, and when I'm seeing the list of the speakers and also the list of the researchers who are going to present their papers during the 2 days conference, I think Dr. Basant, your team has really worked very hard, because putting such kind of event is not very easy unless you are networked well connected with the people, and identifying the right people, and enhancing the quality of the conference, because everybody is looking today how they can network with researchers for the collaborations, whether those collaborations are in the area of academia or in the research or internationalization. And we all understand the importance of collaborative research, and especially in our country, when we are our honorable Prime Minister has given the mandate that the India to be Atmanirbhar, and I think the research is going to play the most vital role in that, through research, innovation, and commercialization of those technologies, or creating the startups, which all will not only solve the problems, societal problems, or align those researches with the national priorities, but will also immensely contribute to the economic development of the nation. And we are at the great time for all of us academicians, and most importantly for the student. National Education Policy 2020 has opened the doors for many avenues, not only bringing that academic flexibility by providing the opportunity to the students to do the multidisciplinary education, pick up the discipline of their choice depending upon their career aspirations, but also opting the mode of the degree, whether to have the honors degrees or the research degree, or whether the 3-year degree or the 4-year degree or the integrated 5 years degrees. And also parallelly, along with a degree, the student can also do the parallelly the second degree also. So it's entirely up to the student how you, as a youth of the nation, decide your education journey, because time is the sense how you can make best out of and maximum out of the time available with you during your education at the university. Amity University provides many opportunities to the students, to the researchers, to the faculty, that as the students can do the specialization, and they can do the the honors, or they can do the degree with the research, and also pick up the second degree in online mode, which is the UGC recognized. But most importantly, the flexibility in doing the choosing the credits, where the student can do the whether industry-led courses or apprenticeship, or they do the MOOCs courses, and maximizing their own time, so that having the real life experiences also with the industry. And this conference, when I look at it as a great opportunity for the all the researchers which are coming from the across the globe to network with each other and look at that how the collaborative research can be done, because that has a much higher value than the doing the individual research, and how you can further enhance your network for the collaborative research, which has the benefit to the and not only to the one country but to the multiple countries. And our honorable founder president Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan has always emphasized that whenever you organize any activity, but first decide also what have to be the outcome of that activity and what are you going to draw, not only the learning of the participants, but beyond learning, how that network, which is very, very valuable, you can strengthen that network and collaborate with each other. I think the collaboration opportunity, when we look at it, is academics, could be the short visit to the each other's universities, or it could be the joint research, and supervising the doctoral students, or maybe the students doing their internships or the project or dissertation with the other universities, and all those researchers which have come from overseas with those universities, maybe the India immersion program or the study abroad program, can also be mode of collaboration apart from doing the joint projects or the joint research or collaborative research. Our honorable chancellor has always emphasized the youth is the power, and the kind of the education which you will get, and that will determine that what you will do in future. And today, the way when we look at the world, there's so many challenges are there as the future leaders of the nation. I'm sure all of you are going to fulfill the vision of honorable chancellor, that you will, through your education, through your research, or your contribution, you will make that valuable difference in the world. You will change the world. That world will be the better place to live. With this, I'm once again extending very warm welcome to Professor Omkar Singh Ji, the Vice Chancellor of the Veer Madhav Singh Vandari Uttarakhand Technical University. I extend very warm welcome to Dr. Jain, Dr. Muralidhar, and all the distinguished speakers who have come for the plenary sessions and all. And Dr. Basant Sikarwar has been given one responsibility, that how he can strengthen the network of IITs, researchers and scientists, and we collaborate and work on the mega projects jointly, and looking at the identifying the national priorities as well as the societal needs, and that research to be outcome driven research, which truly contribute to the nation building. Our Dr. Silva Murthy ji, President STIF, is going to emphasize more on research, that what all we do under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Founder President, Honorable Chancellor. And we look forward after the 2 days, Dr. Basant, from you, that what we have made the future plans, and how each researcher, the scientists and the academician who have come for this conference, how they have benefited, and what future promises they have for themselves, for their organization, and for the nation as a whole. With this, once again, I welcome to all the distinguished guests and congratulate Dr. Manoj Pandey and Basant Sikarwal and their entire team for bringing this conference together of very high stature. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
We have amongst us Professor Dr. W. Silva Murthy, President ASTIF and former distinguished scientist and Chief Controller R&D Life Science DRDO. I request you, sir, to kindly share few words
Can we have a huge round of applause?
Very good morning to every one of you. Good morning. Good morning. That's good. So, Honorable Founder President, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, the founder who has created this whole Amity universe today with 12 universities in India, 18 campuses abroad, 28 schools, 200,000 students, 700,000 alumni. Founder President, thank you for joining us and also giving your blessings by sending the mail in the morning today, early morning, 3 o'clock, to Basant and M.K. Pandey, to all of us. And he is going to interact with all of you students. Especially, he is going to interact with students. He will be appearing on online soon. So be prepared to ask questions and he will ask you questions, interact with him. Students, how many of you are from mechanical engineering? Just raise your hands. Mechanical. Great. How many from electronics? Electrical? Very good. Computer science engineering? That's a big number. Civil? Great, great. Now let's clap for all the students. Come on, let's be a big clap. Very good. So this clap is also to all the invited guests, the chief guest today, Dr. Omkar Singh, who is the Vice Chancellor of Uttarakhand Technological University, Professor K. Muralidhar, the IIT Kanpur, all the very distinguished faculties, scientists from IITs who have joined us here from other institutions. So it gives me great pleasure. I'll mention some of them. Murali is, we know already, Omkar, I have already mentioned that he is a great academician, scientist, and also a thought leader. I was just talking to him only for a few minutes. I could see the leadership, dynamism, and also looking for a disruptive, innovative ideas to take higher education to a different level. And Murali is part of us. He is honorary professor. And he is also coming to Amity and collaborating with Dr. Basant Singh Shikarwar in a big way. Murali, welcome. And all the very distinguished people. Professor Tariq is here. Professor Tariq from IIT Roorkee. And also Professor M.K. Verma. And many others who have joined us. I'm not taking everyone's name. And also Professor, my own friend who is here, Alok Jain, whom we have worked together in DRDO and he is still continuing in DRDO. And all other friends who are here. Above all, students, you are going to be the future. So this conference is actually for you. All of us, we publish papers, we meet each other, but this conference is for you. So understand, assimilate, synthesize everything which all these people with wisdom, experience, expertise who are here. So be attentive to every session and learn. This type of learning you will not get from your textbooks. So that is why you will get the current knowledge. Be attentive for all the deliberation. This conference is taking place, FLUTE 2023 is taking place at a very opportune time because India is now having the presidency of G20, celebrating the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, 75 years of independence, what we have achieved. Looking at the Amrit Kal, what we need to do in 25 years hence from now. So all this is, so that is why this conference is important. What we have done, what we want to do, we are going to discuss in this, particularly in the area which the team which he has, Dr. Basant Singh Sikarwar has chosen and his team, Dr. Pandey, materials for energy, storage and conversion. This is very important for strategic reasons as well as for civilian application. Energy. Energy security is very vital. You need to create energy, store it, use it effectively, and also convert one form of energy to the other. That is why the theme has been chosen for energy security. How do we create sustainable energy solutions? And how do we harness this energy for optimal utilization? By using materials as a focus in this particular theme. So that's why I compliment Dr. Basant Singh Sikarwar for this wonderful, the topic which he has chosen. Electric vehicles have become the order of the day, not only in India, everywhere. the mobility, electric vehicle mobility is becoming the order of the day, not only in India, but globally. But having created this, now we are looking at, can we have charging is a major problem. Can we have non-contact solutions for charging? As the vehicle moves on the road or when it is parked somewhere, can we charge? So non-contact, the charging is another area where a lot of efforts is happening. Similarly, now space mission. How many of the students have seen Chandrayaan-3? Just raise your hands. Chandrayaan, very good. Celebrate. So we have done a good launch, and also we are going to successfully soft land on the moon. In space mission, you need energy. Again, energy is one of the critical factor. When you look at the rover or the lander or even the spacecraft, energy is important. So how do you store energy for a longer period of operations, be it a Mars mission or if it's going to be a Venus mission, hence very soon to happen. So storage comes even in the space missions, which you have seen. Similarly, in defense, when you look at batteries are very important for all the platforms. Be it a missile or a torpedo, you need a high energy batteries to propel the torpedo to its target. So you need again batteries of different type, lithium ion, then we have sodium ion batteries and many types of batteries. So batteries is a very important area and particularly for defense. Fuel cell is another major domain in which you are going to deliberate. Fuel cell, hydrogen mission. So all these are going to be discussed in this forum. But I want to tell you, Amity is doing a very interesting project. I want you to look at cold fusion, cold, low energy nuclear reaction. We are working in this area along with SVIASA University. We have the nickel electrodes and then put on the palladium with the palladium coating. And in a vacuum chamber, we have created reactors. And this was initially done by Prahalad with him. Now we are working with Prahalad. We are able to get 1:1.3 energy. But then now we want to augment to 1:3, 1:5, and then amplify, upscale. So this is a process. Again, energy. When you create that energy, how do you store it? When you create thermal energy, how do you convert them into electrical energy, conversions? So all these are very vital in which Amity is working. Agri-voltaic, we are looking at how do we improve the photovoltaic efficiency. Dr. V.K. Jain is working in this area in Amity University. Hydrogen storage, we are also working on the hydrogen mission storage. We are looking at hydrogen storage. Then Dr. Basant has been entrusted with the responsibility of IIT network, research network. That's why I see all these very distinguished professors from IITs. And we have developed a very good consortium and which he is spearheading under the able guidance of Dr. M.K. Pandey, who is the HOI. Then Amity also has started Amity Institute of Defense Technology. So in which energy for defense is also a very important domain. And we are also, our students have come out with a very innovative, disruptive technology, which is a regenerative clutch for the automobiles. As you keep idling, you create energy. You create energy so that you can have the hybrid power driving the cars. So our students in Amity Institute of Defense Technology has come out with such a kind of disruptive technology for regenerative clutch. So these are all coming from Amity University. So we are looking forward to have synergy from all of you. The final carry-home message is, Amity is a research and innovation-driven university. This is what is the culture. Dr. Ashok Chauhan, who is the founder and also a great innovator, entrepreneur. And for him, research and innovation is the junoon, the passion. So that is why your coming here is again charging us, like energy charging. We all get charged when I see very distinguished professors on the dais, off the dais, that this force multiplier effect comes through the synergy when we work together. So this is what I want to mention, that let's all work together. Dissolve the silos. We are all Indians, we are all one. And we are all the global citizens, not only Indians. We have people coming from Canada, US in this who will be joining us. So let's all work together because energy security is required for Homo sapiens, the biosphere, the whole globe. So that is why let us create that synergy network in different domains of materials for energy storage and conversion. Finally, the sustainable energy solution is very vital. So whatever we develop should be a green technology, clean technology, and sustainable solutions, and contributing to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, has announced that we should have self-reliance in technologies everywhere, solutions. So we should have our own solutions, Indian solutions for the globe, and make for India, make for the globe. So we have to have Atmanirbhar Bharat. So in the energy sector also, I hope India will churn out many disruptive, sustainable solutions. And this conference will pave the way for many new avenues to come up through the discussions, deliberations. So I would be eagerly looking forward to from Basant Shikarwar. And there is a mission outcome. Dr. Chauhan also has created a mission outcome. If you have the 3 days, so many people sitting, spending our time, energy, there must be an outcome, fruitful outcome, which is sustainable. It's not that only a proceedings will come, abstract volumes will come, but it need to have a sustainable outcome for all the participants. So I would be expecting, we would be expecting that sustainable outcome from the deliberations. Best wishes to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We have amongst us Professor Dr. Alok Jain, scientist and Director, Center for Personal Talent Management. He joined DRDO at Solid State Physics Laboratory in 1987 after completing his post-graduation from Delhi University. Later, he obtained his doctorate in physics from IIT Delhi. He is recipient of DRDO Technology Award for development of facet coating and passivation process of laser diode in 2006. He was also bestowed with Scientist of the Year Award in 2018 for steering the high power laser diode activity in SSPL. At CEPTM this year 2020, he led the DRPC assessment process, which was conducted online through video conferencing for the first time. Now I invite Professor Dr. Alok Jain to kindly address the gathering. Can we have a round of applause?
Respected Chief Guest, Guest of Honor, Dr. Silvamurthy, my mentor, esteemed faculty members, professors and scientists from outside, and all the participants, guests, and dear students. Very good morning to all of you. I thank the organizers for inviting me as a special guest. Yesterday night only I got a call from Professor Sarkar and I accepted. I thank them for inviting me here in this very important FLUTE 2023, which has a very apt theme of scientific and technological advances in materials for energy storage and conversion. And I congratulate them, you all for hosting this symposium on very important theme. The need for such system is such new systems is well debated, and it is growing day by day. Presently, the options are very limited, and we have to import. We have to depend on imports also. In the last few years, if you see, due to the rapid change in the global economy, the rise in the global economy, there is at the cost of the environmental pollution, due to the use of irreversible, the change in the burning of the fossil fuel, there is an urgent need for developing new systems which are sustainable, environmental friendly, easy to use, and of course at a cheaper cost, and they should be easy to handle and environmental friendly. And they should also bring about the changes in our human lifestyle so that we can use them judiciously, efficiently, and not at the cost of the environment. If I see from the DRDO point of view, since I am from DRDO, I will, some of the points have been touched by our great leader, Dr. Silvamurthy. Today, everything is sensor based. These devices are required for every guided warhead, even a simple bomb, guided bomb. Earlier, you must have seen the soldiers taking out some pin and throwing the bomb. But now everything is sensor based and guided. You need energy storage device in missiles, bombs, rockets, small rockets, handheld, this one. And of course, all our electronic warfare system like aircraft, ships, and our laser range finders, seekers, and for the systems which are deployed in our forward areas. And most importantly, our submarines. Submarines are powered by batteries only, and they have to come out every few years, every few hours, after every few hours at the top of the sea for charging. In defense, the requirement is much more critical because their space is not a luxury. You see, much of the space in submarines is consumed by batteries. And if you have ever visited a submarine, all of you should visit. In Vishakhapatnam, there is a submarine museum also. You can see the space for a sailor, not sailor, I should say submariner. Matlab, you cannot imagine this is a space for his sleeping or a daily activity. It's such a small space, they have to there live for months. And I can see a word, thermal engineering, in the FLUTE. I'm happy to see that word. So the thermal engineering for this new system is very important, at least from defense point of view. You might remember that there was a accident few years back in a submarine. There was an explosion. How many of you know that about that explosion? You remember? There was an explosion in Mumbai dockyard, and probably there was I think it was reported there was a overheating in some battery area, and we lost many submariners. That was very unfortunate. So these are required in practically in every defense. DRDO has invested heavily in this area through internal means and to private industry also. A lot of projects have been given to develop new materials apart from lithium ion, that iron ion, aluminum ion, sodium ion, lot of other metal and graphene based materials also. And there is a need to develop a new charging system also, especially from defense point of view. There is what is called surface charging, because we don't, in the warhead system, we don't have much time for that. Even now, even the students and everyone wants even our mobile should charge fast. But in war scenario, there is no time for a soldier that is system should take hours to charge. So what is a new concept is surface charging. That is also very important. So apart from material, thermal stabilization, energy stabilization of these systems, new charging method, lot of other things are there which need interaction among the faculty and which needs attention of this community so that these systems can be developed fast. And besides, DRD also needs systems which can work in high altitude and in low weather conditions where the oxygen is oxygen is very less in high altitude area, especially. So it's I hope this symposium will give excellent platform to all researchers and the students and who are participating here. You can interact among yourself, and deliberations will be held, and we can come out with some solutions and we can go forward. It's heartening to see young guns, a lot of young guns in this area, and I like to take this opportunity to say that DRDO gives excellent opportunity to work you in this area. Some of you may be joining later, maybe in DRDO or in some other scientific organizations. So good luck to all of you. My best wishes. Jai Hind.
So students, DRDO is now looking for youngsters like you, youth to build new platforms, technologies. That's why Amity has also started MTech in defense technology, BTech, MTech defense technology with the partnership from DRDO in collaboration with the DRDO. And also they have sponsored this conference. So thank you so much, Dr. Alok. You are representing, convey our gratitudes to the chairman DRDO, Dr. Kamath, and all the others. And best wishes for your mission, the organization which I have served for 40 years. Thank you so much.
I think most of you know Dr. Silamurthy. I would like to say that he has led the organization very efficiently for a number of years. I'm very happy to come here. And thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So we are joined by our Honorable Founder President, sir.
Let's welcome.
Please. Sir, thank you for joining.
Founder President, thank you so much for joining us in spite of all your busy schedule. You left everything and joined us. We are so grateful to you.
Thank you, sir.
We have amongst us our honorable guest of honor, Professor Dr. K. Mullidhar, sir, IIT Kanpur. Dr. K. Mullidhar, Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, IIT Kanpur, has conducted a wide range of experiment and performed numerical simulation in subjects related to fluid mechanics and heat transfer. He has developed optical measurement techniques and numerical algorithm in the area of fluid and thermal science. His work has led to better understanding of transport phenomena in porous media, wake dynamics, flow control, crystal growth, and biomedical flows. Dr. Mullidhar's research find applications in enhanced oil recovery, gas hydrates, regenerator, nuclear waste disposal, and CVD reactors. His work on interferometric tomography, fluid interface, and cellular imaging of convection patterns around crystal is well recognized and have appeared as invited review articles. Now I request our honorable guest of honor, Professor Dr. K. Mullidhar, to kindly address the gathering.
Yeah, good morning. I thank the organizers for inviting me. great to see MIT University organizing an international symposium on fluids and thermal engineering, second time after 2021, with a theme related to materials for energy storage and conversion. So my connection with this subject is via renewable energy, particularly solar, that is rapidly becoming inevitable. So solar is intermittent, that makes energy storage a very important part of the related energy conversion technology. The storage could be in the form of sensible heat in high pressure supercritical steam, or latent heat of phase change materials, or a solar chemical like hydrogen, or more commonly could be pure water from a distillation process. Now, each one of them is in a way limited by the choice of materials. And so the importance of this conference in the renewable space need not be overemphasized. Materials are the media that will host energy in one form or the other, therefore should be chosen with care. For example, a phase change material should have high latent heat, high heat capacity, high thermal conductivity, requirements that are contradictory most of the times. So making the design of a storage system really a challenge. So later today, I will be talking about condensation of water vapor, and here the term materials will refer to not bulk properties, but surface properties that will enable small liquid drops to form and be drained away. So the subject is intrinsically multidisciplinary. I'm very happy to see students from various departments joining this conference. The conference, FLUTE 2023, I hope will foster healthy cross-fertilization of ideas, leading to joint research initiatives and collaboration, finally resulting in cost-effective technologies. So I wish the conference grand success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your gracious presence in this conference and motivating the audience.
Dr. Omkar Singh, a professor of mechanical engineering and vice chancellor of Veer Madhav Singh Bhandari Uttarakhand Technical University, Dehradun, India. He has been the founder vice chancellor of Madan Mohan Malviya University of Technology, Gorakhpur, and he has also been vice chancellor of Uttar Pradesh Technical University, Lucknow. He served as additional controller of examination at Uttar Pradesh Technical University and made the unique beginning of the use of ICT through the innovative OMR cover type answer books and online marks capture transparency and tabulation. He has also held responsible of Vice Chancellor of Veer Chandra Singh Gharwali, Uttarakhand University of Horticulture and Forestry. Dr. Singh has authored 11 books, edited 6 conference proceeded, and written 11 chapters in different books. He is the recipient of the National Scholarship AICTE Young Teacher Career Award in the year 2000, 100 more Influential Vice Chancellor Award, and Asia's Education Excellence Award. Now I request our Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Onkar Singh, to kindly address the gathering.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to be with you in the inaugural ceremony of this two-day international symposium on flutes and thermal engineering. At the outset, I congratulate the organizers from Amity University, especially the Mechanical Wing Department, for choosing this theme of holding a symposium and flutes and thermal, and specifically choosing a theme on energy conversion and the materials for energy storage. My congratulations to all the participants, delegates, and speakers, and those who are present as an audience for being part of this two-day international symposium. Professor Muralidhar, Professor Selvamurthy, Professor Pandey, Professor Jain, and Professor Sekarwar, and the distinguished professors, scientists, and academicians sitting in the auditorium. Good morning to all of you. When I received this invitation for coming to this particular conference, I was thrilled because you rarely find the symposiums or the conferences happening in these thematic areas. The buzz around is revolving around the computer science and the allied domains. And that's a big challenge. Even if I look at the section of audience which is present over here, I have observed that the majority of the students belong to the computer science discipline. The number of the mechanical engineers and the civil engineers is very thin over here. So it's a challenge to the whole of the engineering fraternity. It's a challenge to the academia in particular, which is supposed to take care of the responsibility to take the future generations forward and make this civilization a sustainable one. Our younger generation is having a perception that whatever is happening around, that's happening around the computer science and allied domains, which is not the reality. You need to have a beautiful infrastructure. You need to have the beautiful services. You need to have the engineering evolutions happening every day. You want the technological advancements. You want everything with you, which is not possible alone by the computer science or its domains. I am saying this because I find reasonably large number of students sitting over here whose minds need to be ignited, that they should understand what this civilization is and how we have arrived at this stage. After visiting this beautiful campus of the Amity University, I found a wonderful infrastructure over here. And if you see anything around you, you will find that it is an amalgamation of best of the engineering practices, which is not possible by a single domain. And the energy happens to be at the core. Let it be the human energy, or let it be the energy which we transact around and we realize the conduction of various processes. So the energy is the theme, energy is the core, and whatever we are doing till we are alive, till our last breath, it's the energy which keeps the things sustainable, be it human body or be it the civilization or be it the things around you. We have learned everything from the nature. We have tried to imitate the nature, but in the process, we have burdened this planet Earth. And the process of burdening has been to such an extent that we find a lot of calamities happening. We find excessive rains. The place from where I am coming, I started at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was a pleasant weather there. But just in half an hour, there were torrential rains. So see the kind of climatic variations which are happening. See the kind of your roadblocks which are happening because of the climatic conditions.
Excessive rains are there, excessive floods are there, excessive winds are there, excessive sun is also there. You find that the scorching heat is there. The temperature is rising every year. There has been a significant melting of the glaciers. It's not possible to revert that process. This all is happening because we have not taken care of the sustainability aspect. The energy which we need the spaces to be air conditioned. We need a working condition where we can work 24/7. We are trying to create best of the situations for us at the cost of sacrificing the nature's, its basic operating system is being sacrificed, and we are challenging it. So in a way, we have to think on all these issues. We have to find a solution and ensure that our future generations can enjoy the similar kind of life which we have enjoyed till now. Be it a younger person or be it an older person, it's a challenge for everyone, especially in a country like ours, which is full of the socio-economic variations, full of the geographical variations. You will still find that there are a lot of places in the country which are not having the electricity, which are not having the internet connectivity, because now we are trying to build up everything around the internet. We are trying to include this IT systems to such an extent that those places also remain connected. Especially in the Himalayan states, you will find this challenge to be, it's highly vulnerable. You will find a lot of your villages are being emptied. Nobody wants to stay in those places because the energy systems are not efficient over there. The communication systems are not efficient over there. The transportation systems are not efficient over there. So for the generation which we have today, all of us have to ponder upon all these issues, and we have to ensure that the whatever circumstances, whatever the regions have been, we should try to revert everything. We should not burden this planet anymore. We should try to come out with the sustainable systems. So sustainability happens to be the core. We have already taken a resolve to make it, to decarbonize everything, be it energy generation, be it electricity generation, or be it any other transaction. So in the process of decarbonization, we need to amend our ways. We need to ameliorate our processes. We need to think out of box and come out with a solution which is not carbon intensive. The renewable energy aspect, which Professor Muralidhar has already spoken a bit of it, the solar energy and wind energy happen to be such sources which are helping us, which can help us. Maybe they are not being exploited to that extent, but they have the potential and they can help us in decarbonizing the whole electricity generation process. So as far as the storage is concerned, I hope during these 2 days, there would be a lot of deliberations happening around the chemical storage, electrochemical storage, or mechanical storage. I personally have also been interested in the compressed energy air storage systems, and we developed a compressed air engine about a decade back. That was a compressed air turbine, and we tried to use it for the vehicular application. At the laboratory scale, it was all working well, but when it goes for the commercialization, there are a lot of hiccups and challenges. So the generation of the day has to take this challenge. They have to consider the various possible sources of the energy storage. The hydrogen is one such potential chemical storage system for which the government of India has already taken a lead, and the National Mission on Hydrogen Energy has been initiated. And there are a lot of opportunities available. We should exploit it and try to come out with the viable solutions so that whatever we do, that can be carried forward in years to come. We should not challenge the nature. We should try to emulate it, try to come out with the systems which are friendly with the nature. So during these 2 days, I hope there would be a lot of deliberations happening on all these lines, and the participants would be eventually getting benefited. At the end, I again congratulate the organizers for holding this wonderful thematic symposium and hope that the deliberations would be fruitful one. Thank you once again for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. Wish you all the best. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your gracious presence and enlightening the audience by your knowledge and inspirational words.
We are privileged to have among us Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Pandey, Sir, Director, MIT School of Engineering and Technology, Noida.
Good morning. Good morning. I'll keep on telling good morning until everybody will tell good morning. Good morning. Yes, now I can understand. Yes. So that energy should be there because all the speakers before me has spoken about the energy. And that energy, if you will not showcase, then that all energy will be waste. So good morning once again. Thank you. So, Honorable Founder President, sir, Honorable Chancellor, sir, our chief guest for today, Professor Omkar Singh ji, Dr. Alok Jain ji, our own Professor Muralidharan ji, Vice Chancellor Madam, and Salamurthy sir, all the faculty, head of the departments, and their students. Once again, can I request all of you to welcome our Honorable Founder President, sir, with applause, please. With applause and with a standing ovation. I request everyone should standing ovation to our Honorable Founder President, sir, because his guidance, his motivation, and inspiration is always motivate us to do better, to grow more. And please sit down, as he has given us the mandate to take the Amita School of Engineering and Technology to the next level. In that, I need the cooperation from all of you. Thank you very much. Please sit down. So, dear students, today we have with us the huge galaxy of the intellectuals, those who they have achieved in their life, and let us take advantage of their experiences. Let us take advantage of their knowledge. It's the time now to learn from the experiences, mistakes, and benefits of the others. Because we have to move very fast. We cannot wait to do mistakes first and then learn and then relearn again. And for the information of all our galaxy of the intellectuals this morning, the MIT University, the MIT institutions had made 12 universities across the country. And we have 17 campuses outside India. And 200,000 students are studying across our various campuses, including schools. And we are imparting education in almost all the areas, including engineering, technology, management, virology, psychology, law, and many more. And our scientists are continuously working hard to produce more in all these areas. We are the research and innovation driven university. Our scientists and faculty members has filed 1,800 patents till now, and which is maximum highest of the IITs also put together. So this is the width and height of the university. And with that, dear students, I request you, I suggest you that each and every word of the academic, the leaders, those who has been today with us, will be very, very important for you. And as our Honorable Founder President Sir has given us mandate that each one of you, every student of this university will be a success story. And to make you a success story, we need your cooperation, your attention, and your participation. Because the world of the opportunities in the world, any of the field, you take the mechanical engineering, you take the civil engineering, you take the computer, and any all are going to be incredible. Last month, I had visited some of the industries my own. You can Google it now. The name is Data Patterns. The name is LMT. The name many more. And they, in a single word, they told me, give me the student of mechanical engineering. I need mechanical engineers. I need the civil engineers. And that because the government of India is going to be hugely invest in the manufacturing sector of the India. Yesterday, just one news I was going through is the Foxconn. Have you heard of this company, Foxconn? They are hugely investing, and it's a Taiwan-based company. Hugely investing in India. And now you will also come to know that we have a tie-up with that company through the Economic Cultural Center in India or Taiwan in India. So this advantage we have to take. This benefit you have to get of your university. And one university is going to do a lot of efforts for your career plannings. We have a unique international plans for you in the name of study abroad program, through which a mandate is given to us to send 15,000 students from various universities across the world. And this is very opportunity that I don't think even find in any other university. We have a tie-up with the premier institutions in outside India. We have the tie-up with the MIT. We have the tie-up with the Berkeley, with many more universities across the world. Take advantage of that. We have various articulations. If you want to study 2 years here and you want to go 2 years in some of the partner universities outside India in US, that 2 years you are going to study here, 2 years you are going to study in US. We have 3.5 and 1.5 articulation also, where yesterday itself we have a meeting with one of the university in US, where they are inviting our students, and 12 of our students are going like that. So in half year they are studying over here, and they are going to get the BTech and MS degree. And we have the 3C programs, 3 continent program, unique exposure that we are providing to you, to our students. We have various other international collaborations that you can take advantage of it. And these type of unique opportunities that we are going to provide you. Now it will up to you now how you are going to taking advantage of it. So our honorable founder president want. Now I just want to ask one question that any volunteer will need, and our founder president would like to interact with you later. Only I need some volunteers for that to raise hand, and then mic will come. Can someone take the mics there? What type of topics you want, what type of skill sets you want, what type of behavioral skills you want from a student from MIT University. Any volunteer, 3 volunteers or 4 volunteers you want to raise hand? Yes, please. Can someone take the mic, please? You can come forward otherwise. Yes, all 3 come in front. Okay, please give mic.
Dr. Pandey, you can call them on stage close to you.
Please come. One by one you can tell. Yes.
Just come on the stage, these 4 volunteers.
Come here in the stage, so that founder presidents also can see you. Yes, please. Your name first and then you tell me.
My name is Apurva Singh of BTech Mechanical Batch.
Yes, please.
And your question pertains to the skills required by any mechanical
traits,
traits.
any other that you feel should be there in your in your characteristics, in your say that MIT we can expect from the MIT students.
Well, firstly, the basic foundation of mechanical engineering. the understanding of core subjects is very necessary, not only for MIT students, but for students of any kind of mechanical field. Any core subjects or any basic foundation must be clear. And the second trait is innovation in the said core field. Only after innovation, only after thinking, we can proceed forward and make new stuff, inventions, innovations, anything. So these are the two main traits, two technical traits that every engineer, whether they be from MIT or not, should have. And as for the behavioral traits or behavioral skills, it must be determination and perseverance, because failures will be there and only one success will be there for you.
Yeah. Close round of applause, please. Thank you. You please stay here. Let's come. Next. Yeah. go on.
Very well spoken. You stay back on stage. Huh?
Yes, please.
Good morning, I'm Nishant. I'm also from mechanical department, his classmate. I highly agree on what he said. The basic traits of engineer should include two things. I would say one is design and one is thinking. The design part would also include like the academics, like what the syllabus is, what is the program knowledge, what is the structural knowledge. Any kind of engineer, be it mechanical, be it civil, should have their basic knowledge or fundamental knowledge of their subject. If they have their knowledge, they could be a good engineer along with the design part. The thinking part. The thinking part includes like the innovation. An engineer should have the knowledge which he can implement in new ways. Like this mic is an existing technology. The engineer can also think how to improve it, how to make it efficient. Any engineer which have this trait should, not in amity, like every engineer should have these traits.
Good. Great. Yes, next. Come next.
Good morning, all. My name is Dhruv, and I'm their classmate from BTech Mechanical final year.
Keep
Sir,
the mic closer. Keep the mic.
I would like to say that basic for anything in mechanical engineering, that design, and you can use the softwares using which we can design the structure of the anything like bridges and anything that we can design. So
Any other?
I would like to say that everything is a part of our life that we should keep continuing with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Before that, one girl student, and then you. You also want to come.
Good morning, everyone present here. I'm Anya Joshi from the EC department. So like everyone said, like apart from this knowledge, like every institute provides, I guess Amity University also gives us the opportunity of student abroad program. And it also helps us in improving our skills. Like it has also the courses like professional ethics, which helps us in the future. And like I'm the student coordinator of corporate resource center, which has helped me a lot in developing my communication skills and the confidence. I think all these skills the Amity University has given me, and it makes me different from others. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Good.
Good morning, everyone. I am Anas Khan. I am from MTech Automobile Engineering. Firstly, I want to say that an engineer should have great interest. Without interest, there is nothing, because most engineers only do the degree, only do the engineering for degree. That should not, because the interest is very important, and after that the technical skills, basic subject, core subject, and after that hard working with creativity. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Come last one.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Akshat Pardesi, and I'm from BTech Triple E, fourth year. I would like to add one thing, that is, an engineer should have a strong presence of mind. He should be strong-willed, as persistence is the key to any kind of success. No matter what you do, there would be failures. No matter what step you take, you have to keep in mind that you have to initiate that step first. So that presence of mind should be there, always moving forward, not stopping when there is any kind of hindrance and obstacle in your way. That is one trait that I would like every fellow batchmate to have, as that would create your path to success. Thank you.
Thank you all. So, Honorable President, sir, these some of them we have picked, although many people have raised their hand in the audience. So now we would like you to please would like to interact with them, sir.
I must tell to all students, very pleased, very much energized. We are speaking of energies, listening each sentence of these worthy students. And I must tell that you can make career with any success you would desire for. After hearing you, I can guarantee it to you. And the thing gives me more pleasure to hear my students, speak to my students, see my students, those who would make game changer for the growth and development of the country. So I'm very happy, and I will send to all of you a book with my personal note appreciating your deliberations. Everybody has told very rightly, and if you follow these things, just one thing you need. You want to fix a mission of yours, where to which heights I want to reach, and you will reach. Thank you very much, and my blessings to everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. You can proceed. So, finally, I would like to congratulate Dr. Basant and his team of the faculty, student, volunteers, those who have worked out day out and day night to make this event successful. And these 2 days, all the academic dignitaries are going to share their thoughts, their ideas, their experiences, their knowledge, which will be very, very valuable to us. And dear students, you know that this knowledge, I think how many of you have watched Three Idiot movie? Three Idiot. सभी ने देखी होगी perhaps. उसमें रेंचो था, हर क्लास में बैठ जा रहा था. You remember that? He is telling the ज्ञान flowing. Knowledge is flowing. Let us grab it. So knowledge is flowing. Knowledge is flowing. Take advantage of it. And with this, thank you very much. And I will request Honorable, I take this privilege to invite Honorable Founder President Sir to shower his words of wisdom, blessings to all of us so that this conference will be a great success. Thank you, sir.
My dear students, I am very happy to see you in such large number sitting over here. And Dr. Lamurthy has already asked from which branch you are, computer science, IT, triple E, and so on. And I have told to our IT people that in between, go on showing me the hall, because I have one quality and nothing else, my intuition. By seeing your faces, I can write an article of each student sitting over here, to which heights he will reach, what is his aspiration, what he wants, and how good he is, all these qualities, what has been mentioned just now. There was a speaker in such conference, and when his turn came, he told to the coordinator, you make a photocopy of all what has been spoken already and read it out, and that is my speech. So I have heard such worthy persons, started with Dr. Balvinder Shukla was there, Dr. Silma Murthy, Professor Murli Dharanji, Onkar Singh ji, and I think Alok Dhawan was there, if I heard rightly, and the colleague of DRDO by Silma Murthy ji. So I would say that these symposium like this is very important for your career progression, for your knowledge, and hearing all these persons, those who are here, is something, a energy booster. If you are talking about energy, so I was seeing that all of you are source of energy. Should I say energy conversation or energy conversion or energy generation? So if you will put this energy in the proper way, proper path, I would say that you all sitting over here, standing in MBT, in your asset,
which is regarded as one of the best engineering colleges in the country and highly connected globally with about 450 universities. We have close connection with most of them in MOU. Recently, we had MOU with John Hopkins. Many people are congratulating me. Dr. Swan, this is such a exclusive university in West Coast, and how was it possible to have a MOU with them? Perhaps the first MOU with them in the India. So I would say that, as my wonderful students told, that set a mission in life. Set a mission in life. When I was in the 12th class, my mission was that I want to do masters in chemistry, and this I did in 1963. The next mission was to have more experience in industry, and after that, I wanted to go to West Germany, and people laughed upon me that nowadays West Germany takes some students, some industry experienced persons, but very, very less. And how can you dare to say that I will go to West Germany? And I went there, West Germany. I am telling it that most important is to set a goal, set a mission. You have heard so worthy speakers, and they have all given very valuable scientific and technical advices. And the topic today, the scientific and technical uh, uh, for materials, for conversation, and for the energy. So I think these topics are nowadays very important, and you will be hearing the whole day the different very highly worthy speakers. Many are sitting over here, and it is not easy to call them, but I congratulate Dr. Basant Sikarwat, to whom I say he is an exceptional person under the guidance of Dr. Manoj Pandey. And all your HOIs, HODs, faculty members sitting over here, I am not able to meet you so often, but about most of you, those who are sitting over here, not students, because it is not possible. In past, I used to come a lot to my for engineering student to meet, but nowadays, because of a very vast expansion internationally and in the country, we are. You must have heard we are coming with the university in Bangalore this year, because why Bangalore? I told to Atulji and Asimji that a lot of scientists after retirement are settling down in Bangalore. And I do not want their energy. Let me speak about the word energy to go waste after 60 years. Dr. Sunamurthy is here. When he retired after 40 years from DRDO, we met him. I told him, sir, now you please help MIT, help me. And when he came, I organized a Havan to welcome him. And he told Dr. Chauhan, 40 years in DRDO and now 40 years at MIT. And about more than 10 years or so, he has already crossed. And then I told Dr. Nauti, we both have set an aim. Listen carefully. People may be a little surprised. I have set an aim that in 2047, when India is completing 100 years of independence, then I will sing and dance with all these students, MITians. People think, what founder president is telling it? They know my age. I told them, don't be surprised. All MITians have the blessings of God, as you have seen in my placard here. And we are working for the mission of God, as you are working for your mission, the aspiration of your parents, the aspiration of Vice Chancellor Sunamurthy, Dr. Brinda Shukla. She spoke also very well and about the NEP and all. So if God is behind you, then you set the mission. You know that if you have the mission of God in eyes and say that he has to care. Sometimes my wife says, you are working 18 hours a day. What about your health? I told, this is not my worry. This is the worry of God to keep me healthy, agile. And my mission is that millions of my students become millionaires. When I came from West Germany, all those who have visited me there, politicians, scientists, industrialists, they told Dr. Chauhan, you can be the richest man among the richest in the world, and you can be the most successful man in India. I told I don't want. So he saw my face. Why he doesn't want? I told I want my students to be millionaire. My students to have make name and fame. On seeing you today, my this faith, my this desire has further increased and become stronger. So I would say this symposium will pave new ways and new vision, new thinking, and when the wife of Manoj Pandey, Sujata Pandey ji was working here with us, and Dr. Manoj Pandey built an institution in Modi Nagar from 0 to 6,000, and she told me, sir, can I speak to my husband? Yes, I told very well, and she brought Manoj Pandey ji. Why I'm telling it? A person who was heading an institution there, but he thought that the atmosphere is with great energy at a meeting. So, my dear student, I will say I will not touch detail the topic. All have spoken. I'll be attending also during the day, so partly, and also attending the valedictory. But I must again tell you, have your mission, have your aim, and if you do not succeed in that, whose mistake it would be, whose failure it would be, it would be my mistake, my failure, that I could not make you so trained, so capable, because everything is here. Now you have to catch hold of it. And all those who are sitting in the hall or sitting at the podium at the dais, I'm so proud. Some people ask, Dr. Chauhan, what gives you so much energy? Professor Muralidharan ji, Professor Omkar Singh ji, and the colleague of Dr. Islamurthy from DRDO. And nowadays, the defense area is the most important area. No doubt, you need other areas, but if the country is not safe, then nothing can happen, nothing can do. The government of India desired to do more in that, and we were the first to start MTech in defense technology, and many such courses. I've got 400 people selected in the Army, Navy, Air Force, boys and girls, because they will be someday become Lieutenant General, Army Commander, Corps Commander. One day I was standing in my bedroom before a mirror. My wife asked, what are you doing? I was just practicing to take the salute. Why I'm telling it, if you are successful, if you are have achievements, then people respect you, they bow before you, they salute you. So, my dear students, when you go from here, you put on a paper what you want and come to me when I'm in the campus, sir, this is what I want. And if anywhere you see doubt or problem, I will just take your shoulder in my hand and move few inch left or right so that you reach to the right path. I would say, Basant Sikarwar, to you I told that with 26 IITs, make a MET Research Synergy Forum, MET at IITs. Take 10 professors from there. And I'm very thankful to Professor Muralidharan ji, as when I must say, this IIT Kanpur is very special in my heart. That Muralidharan ji there, he has been often helping us, guiding us. Basant Sikarwar is there. And most importantly, for my only daughter, There were a lot of offers for marrying her, but I brought alumnus from IIT Kanpur. So this is from Mulitranji and Vasant Sikarwaji, and we have a lot of connection with IIT Kanpur. So, my dear students, sitting over here, you make your thoughts what you want to achieve in life. I had written today 4 o'clock, early in the morning to Manoj Pandeyji and Vasant Sikarwar that there may be students, part of the student would like to make a great career. The other would like to make a respectable career only, but not the great. And third category will be, I don't know what it will be because I don't think beyond the excellence, beyond the being number one in any area. And all those who are sitting over here, I must tell you, your coming here will make possible for me to make MIT University, UP and all my 11 other universities and 18 campuses abroad. I have the mission to make this university group the number one in the country. Because for that, how can I say like that? With which confidence? Because of my students, my faculty members, HODs, HOIs, vice chancellors. So I think take this path. You will see that you have to work in any case hard. You have to in any case do a lot for career. But if you work with a mission from your village, from your town, from your colleagues, from your relations, they will respect you. Because I see that if you are successful, people appreciate you that you have become of your own. I come from a family of academicians. My father was very highly posted in government, but didn't have any money. When I went to West Germany, he gave me £3 and told I can give you more, but then he has to manage from somebody. I told no. And most of you may be knowing, I became the biggest entrepreneur in continental Europe. I'm telling it, I don't want to say anything about me, but I want to tell you are much better than me because you are from MIT. Maybe the MIT would have not admitted me also, but I had the mission that I want to be the biggest entrepreneur, not in West Germany, East Germany, but in Europe I became. When the unification came in 1989-90, I had the mission to be the biggest investor in East Germany. All laughed upon me. You from India, and there are people from America, people from France, people from Great Britain, Russia, and all these countries were sitting to buy the great industrial houses. But my dear students, again, not to boost me, I don't need it. I became the biggest investor in East Germany by buying 8 big conglomerate of industry. And the politician told, taking my hand as in India, people hand in hand, that we have brought the political unity, but Dr. Chauhan from India has brought the unity of industrial development and so on. So this is, I am telling that think on it, that you have to make India a global superpower. This is my next mission. So this mission, when these speakers come here, I'm so grateful to them. If I left some name, I'm sorry. I'm so grateful to them. This gives me motivation. And again, the word energy, this gives me energy. And if you have energy from them, just you need to have a mission. So again, Vasant Sikarwar, I've written you today 4 a.m. that you are unique, exceptional, and you can do anything what you want to do. And we are taking your help in the Synergy Forum, in the MIT for Defense Technology, in many ways. And the leadership of Manoj Pandeyji is also exceptional. Dr. Murthy, very nice for your speech. Everybody spoke very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your inspirational word. MIT University has always been a front runner in the field of teaching, research, and innovation. And this has been possible because of your dynamic and visionary leadership.
Now I request all the dignitaries, faculties, and guests to kindly move to the respected venue for high tea. Following the high tea, we will be having plenary talks. I request all of you to gather here again after the high tea.
Thank you.
Muralidhar, Department of Mechanical Engineering, and Professor Dr. D.K. Singh as session chair with us. Professor Dr. K. Muralidhar is a well-renowned researcher and academician and a fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering and Sciences. He was also the president of National Society of Fluid Mechanics and Fluid Power of India. Sir, now I'd like to request you to kindly address the plenary talk.
Yeah, welcome again. This talk is about how liquid drops sit and spread over surfaces carrying small pillars, micro pillared surfaces. So I'll give you the background, try to highlight some important aspects of the drop surface interaction. So we got into this application of producing drinking water. So we have worked on the solar approach, solar distillation, where you evaporate water and condense on a suitable surface. Second approach we are looking at is to condense moisture present in air. So this table will show you that one of the new technologies that is low in cost and can produce an unlimited amount of water is the AWG technology. It's AWG being the atmospheric water generator. So the pillared surface study is related to developing an effective, productive AWG. The device think of it schematically as just a box through which there is flow of moist air and then a cold surface on one side on which water will condense. So naturally you want a lot of condensation to happen. So to enable condensation, particularly in large amounts, past experiments show that the surface should encourage formation of droplets. So these droplets then will drain in time and new droplets are formed, and then you have a continuous process by which pure water is produced. So the key to the success of this device is the condensing surface. So once again, past work shows that if you want to encourage dropwise condensation, the surface has to be it's called hydrophobic. should repel water, not hydrophilic, on which a film will form. Avoid film formation, encourage drop formation. So historically meaning in the last 30 years or so, 3 decades, hydrophobic surfaces have been formed by applying various types of coatings. These coatings have a problem because they're short-lived, they're not long-lasting. They get washed away by the moving drops. So we're looking for alternatives by which you can have a robust, stable, hydrophobic, preferably super hydrophobic surface. This is some past work on how dropwise condensation takes place on a hydrophobic to super hydrophobic surface, even without it may be a pillared surface, it may be a chemically coated surface. So it's a cycle that drops nucleate, they grow in size, they become unstable, gravitationally unstable, and they get drained. And then fresh nucleation commences, and then you have periodicity. So naturally, if you have a very vigorous cycle, that means if you have the time period is very small, then the drop size will be smaller, but you really gain in terms of water production because the frequency of occurrence of the drops is quite high. So super hydrophobicity and more. That's our initial interest without using chemical coatings. So this is some literature to show that if you have super hydrophobic surface, the volume of water you produce is much more than what you would get with non or untreated surfaces. Something similar is shown on the right-hand side. Bare copper versus treated copper to make it hydrophobic will give you a lot more water production. So here, Dr. Sikarwar and his group, they have built an atmospheric water generator, and they have shown that it is not just super hydrophobicity. Now I'm bringing in one more term called hysteresis. So hydrophobicity is measured in terms of a contact angle, which should be very high, as close to 180 degrees as possible. At the same time, hysteresis, which is also an angle, should be as low as possible, maybe 5 degrees, 10 degrees, as low as possible. So they tried out various surfaces and they have shown, that is Sikarwar's group here, that you need high hydrophobicity and low hysteresis to maximize water production. But these are on chemically coated surfaces. The question is, can this be replicated using pillared surfaces? So some limited work has been carried out on patterning the surface, creating some pathways for easy drainage of water drops. They also show some improvement in water productivity. But we have gone into this space of having uniformly distributed pillared surfaces. Micro-pillared in the sense that the dimensions are in maybe a few microns to a few hundred microns. In the context of water production. Advantage, we expect the cost per unit area. The coatings are expensive, so we expect pillars to be less expensive, and we expect the surface to be long-lived. Have we achieved such a surface? Well, I would say research is in progress. It's a soft way of saying we have not achieved as yet. I'll give you a little bit of a background in this domain and the work we have done, and conclude with some condensation patterns on surfaces with various pillar geometries. A pictorial representation of a pillared surface. You can see there are pillars. Pillars now, for a start, we are looking at pillars with a square cross section that are like rectangular blocks, but they could be, they could also have rounded tops. You can have coatings on top of pillars. Now, the unique aspect of pillars is by changing the geometrical parameters. That could be this spacing between pillars, cross-section of pillars, height of pillars. You can achieve a whole range of contact angles and hysteresis. So here I have shown a pillared surface where it becomes almost in the millimeter range, where the surface becomes hydrophilic. So the contact angle range can go from 0 on one extreme to 180 degrees by adjusting the pillar dimensions. But what is the connection between pillar geometry and the hydrophobicity, contact angle, wettability? They are all interchangeably used. High wettability is low levels of hydrophobicity, that is hydrophilicity. So you can control the nature, wettability of the surface. Of course, you may ask, what is the connection of this topic to materials? So here I'm extending the definition of materials to include surface texture. Now, these pillars will not be visible to you straight away. You have to use special purpose microscope, we have a Leica stereo microscope, under which we can get 3D patterns, 3D pillar patterns, like this, okay, or like this. So these are made using a variety of manufacturing techniques. Now that also happens to be an emerging area. It's not that you can go to a shop on the street and have a pillared surface made. It's specialized technology. So we have used wire cut EDM, that is for making pillars that are about 100 microns to 500 microns high. But if you use silicon wafer, you can get pillars that are around 10 microns in height. Okay, so this, you see, these are all 10 microns cross section, pitch 40 microns, height 50 microns, made using photolithography. It's another technique. But this method is exclusively for small pillars, while you have to do actual cutting, like wire cut EDM, to go into the hundreds of microns range. The question is, which one is better? Now, from the water production perspective, vapor is condensing and that latent heat released has to go through the substrate. So the substrate has to be metallic, preferably copper, so that there is no thermal resistance for that heat transfer to take place. So silicon is ruled out. The atmospheric water generator will not function properly with this silicon, but this silicon will give you very high levels of hydrophobicity. So looking for this kind of behavior on metallic surfaces. So just some more background. So this is the pillared surface. The drop may sit on it in what is called a Cassie-Baxter configuration, or in the Wenzel state where water has gone into the interpillar gap. So you can imagine as the gap increases, water will go in. The gap is very narrow, then interfacial forces will prevent the infusion of water into the interpillar gap. Now, it may also be intuitively clear to you that Cassie-Baxter will serve as a surface that is more superhydrophobic than Wenzel. So from the AWG perspective, what we need is Cassie-Baxter. Now, what I have shown here is an equilibrium configuration. That means you have a surface and slowly you place a liquid drop on it. But in condensation, you have nucleation and you have drop growth. There is actually fluid flow taking place on that scale. So even for Cassie-Baxter surfaces, momentarily you may end up with a Wenzel kind of a configuration. So the dynamics of drops, their interaction with the pillared surface has to be understood in this context. Now, some past work has been done on the connection between pillar dimensions and the equilibrium configuration that would be attained. So you can see this graph, you can see here, shows if the height is small, you are in the Wenzel state. If height is large, you get into the Cassie-Baxter state, which brings out the importance of the height of the pillars relative to the pitch. So one message is you need tall pillars with a very narrow pitch. Then water will not go through. High levels of superhydrophobicity. That will lead to a high amount of water production. So this is based on equilibrium considerations. At the same time, this is like a counter effect. Pillars have sharp corners where the drops may get, it's called pinning. Pinning leads to a hysteresis effect. Hysteresis is the anomaly between forward motion of the drop and rearward or receding motion of the drop. So advancing and receding motions are not equivalent. It's a difference in the behavior, which is referred as hysteresis. And naturally, as the solid fraction of pillars increases, is more and more pinning. But if there is spinning, then the drops will not freely slide on the surface, and your water production is impacted. You want less spinning, but this narrow pillar gap and tall pillars will mean more pillars and more pinning. So you have to balance the two. So this is essentially the message, central message of the talk, that you would like to have high levels of superhydrophobicity and low hysteresis, but that is contradictory in the pillars context. So going a little deeper, I'll show you some videos, these experimental videos that we have recorded. Left-hand side is the PDMS, which is hydrophobic but hysteritic, high levels of hysteresis. And you will see that after some time, this is what you have to look for, that after some time, the drop stops spreading, gets pinned. So let's hope the video, this is the video. After some time, see the drop footprint or the base diameter does not change in time. As a result, the interface tends to oscillate. So high hysteresis will result in droplet oscillations. Now this has been recorded, as you can see, with a high frame rate camera, 75,000 frames per second. That is what we have. But if you look at the literature, they use 30,000 frames per second and higher to study subjects of this type. We're also trying to get those high frame rate cameras. Let's look at the video on the right, which is for it's a chemically textured. Glaco is a commercial product. So here, hysteresis is low and hydrophobicity is high for Glaco. And here you will see that the base footprint will keep changing in time. And there is also a possibility of the drop undergoing recoil. So this is, if it recoils, it is great, because then water will get drained quickly. So right-hand side is desirable. This is what we want from a pillared surface, but this is a chemically coated. So you can see the base diameter is changing all the time. Here is a video of a drop being gently placed. There is some initial velocity of the drop of impact. You can see the pillars on it. So here you will see something like a combination of the two. Okay, but the behavior strongly depends on the geometric dimensions of the pillar and also on the surface texturing of you can also coat the surface, so that also comes into picture. It's a high frame rate video. It does show some bouncing like behavior, some variation in footprint diameter, some pinning. It's a mix up of all those features. So, if you look at the literature, I have given the references here. They show even more complicated phenomena. For example, you can see here, if a little bit of the drop penetrates the interpillar gap, then while coming out, it may come out in the form of a recoil, because the diameter outside, see here, the drop diameter outside is higher, so it's lower pressure. Here it is lower, so the pressure is higher, and there is a bouncing effect, which I will show you in this video. You can see that arrow, that drop that just came out, just bounced out of the interpillar gap. So similar phenomena have been reported in the context of coalescence. Suppose there are two drops next to each other. In a condensation pattern, there are thousands and thousands of drops. Some of them may coalesce and will lead to this recoil effect. So this subject takes you into a little bit of analysis. So the big question is, you cannot be doing experiments with every kind of pillared surface. So can you analyze these surfaces in a modeling framework? So fluid flow, I think most of you know, these are determined by the Navier-Stokes equations. This small point of difference you have to account for liquid-vapor interface. And there is one more point of complexity, which is what's called the contact line singularity. You have the liquid phase with air outside, water inside, air outside, contacting the surface. And that contact line, if you look at it through a camera, you see it's moving, violating the no-slip condition. So that is often referred as singularity. So singularities have to be resolved by undertaking what is called lower level modeling, or you may do some empirical continuum scale modeling. So we have done both, but here I'm going to talk about continuum scale representation of contact line singularity. So I'll go through some of these slides quickly and show you the results to show that yes, we do observe droplet oscillations, we do observe the effect of pinning through our approach. So our own contribution, Navier-Stokes equations are there, and then surface tension treatment is also there. Our contribution has been to the treatment of this three-phase contact line. Okay, so once you complete the simulation, you will get the velocity distribution, pressure distribution, shape of the interface, and possible oscillations, recoil, everything comes out. Of course, in the AWG context, you want the wall heat flux, because that wall heat flux is what is leading to condensation. So we'll skip this slide. Which I think is, yeah, okay. It's not working, huh? That's not working. Okay, I'll just say enter. हाँ अच्छा ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है ठीक उसी से करते हैं ठीक. So there are some contact angle models in the literature, but we have developed our own. So the model, I think that was quite nice to. This, I don't know if this part is working. So this is the contact angle model we have developed. Maybe I should explain what that angle is. I'll show you in the next picture. It's the angle formed at the three-phase contact line. So it has a pinning component, it has the friction component, and so it can treat real-life surfaces quite well. Oh, it worked here. So the contact angle we are talking about is the angle made by the drop at the surface. See that contact angle. So I have already shown through the video that on a non-hysteretic surface, the drop will tend to spread. We'll have both advancing and receding phases, while on a hysteretic or a pinned surface, the footprint will remain unchanging with time. So these are some pictures which I think I can skip, just to show that our model can handle a wide range of surfaces by adjusting the friction parameter and the pinning parameters. So every time you are given a surface, you have to find these parameters for that surface before you start simulations. Just a table saying that, yeah, some parameters have to be specified before you engage in simulations. So suppose you are doing validation of your simulation against published literature, then you have to find out the properties of that surface by looking at the data that the authors have presented. So in our experiments, the key is the camera. Okay, of course, you have to make the surface, the pillared surface, and then you have to image it. So the camera specifications, both in terms of pixel resolution and speed. So something like 4,000 frames per second may be okay. So if it's better, it's quite good. So anytime you develop a model, you have to validate with the literature available on the subject. You have to repeat the problem that others have looked at. Then you have to do experiments for the problem that you have undertaken for analysis. So we have done two types of validation: our simulation versus our experiments. The other is our simulations versus the experiments in the literature. Okay, so just to show that these circles are all from the literature, and the solid line is our simulation. You can see here on this side, the contact angle shows oscillations which are not recorded by that blue line, which is the contact angle model of the literature, but our simulations are able to follow fluctuations. Fluctuations are typical of the hysteretic surfaces. So this, some more, I have several pictures just to show that match between our model and simulations with experiments is quite good. But I would like you to focus on GLACO. These are the two surfaces I had shown earlier. GLACO versus PDMS. GLACO is super hydrophobic, low hysteresis, ideal as far as our AWG application is concerned. And PDMS is also hydrophobic, but highly hysteretic, which leads to oscillations. You can see oscillations in the height of the drop. So directly in terms of experiment versus simulation, the first row, this is GLACO, and you can see that the base diameter is changing continuously in time. Look at the time scales. They are 41 milliseconds. That's why you need a high-speed camera. Okay, and then the simulations are in the second row. They match. Just look at 11 milliseconds. You can see a fairly good match in the shapes. And now you come to PDMS, which is C, this here. You can see that the footprint diameter is nearly constant because of pinning, and that you see even in the simulations. So GLACO is the reference that we want. So now I have to wrap up a little bit. So I'll skip. Okay, now let me come to similar simulations we have carried out for a pillared surface. It's a pillared surface. Intrinsically, there is no symmetry. It's a 3D surface. It's heavy duty calculations. So you're talking about something like 5 milliliters liquid drop. Physical domain might be 30 mm by 30 mm by 30 mm. And the simulations run for, on HPC, high performance computing systems, they run for 12 days, 13 days. So these are hard simulations. So here we did simulation, a validation against the literature. Again, you can see this first row. This is the pillared surface. And then we are comparing it with another pillared surface where, what is the difference? The difference is in the pitch or the gap between the two pillars. Their heights are equal. And as you increase the gap, hydrophobicity goes down and the liquid drop penetrates the pillars a little more than when the gap is smaller. So this trend is seen both in experiments and simulation. These are experiments in the literature. And we're comparing with our simulations. So here, this is a simulation study where you can see that as the height progressively comes down, you can see the height reducing, hydrophobicity goes down, and the drop undergoes transition. Look at the drop. By the way, it's 48 microseconds. So you can imagine the time steps are in maybe 10 nanoseconds or so. 48 microseconds. Here a Cassie-Baxter, this is a superhydrophobic state, to Wenzel, which is less hydrophobic, just by changing the pillar height. So I think I'll leave some of these points. So maybe I can show the effect of hysteresis is to make the wetting diameter. You can see this wetting diameter. This is the effect of hysteresis. If there is more hysteresis, A has less than B. If B has more hysteresis, it tends to be a constant for a longer period of time. So in the next few slides, I will show you some condensation patterns on pillared surfaces. The basic condensation model again was developed earlier by a group of students, including Basant Sikarwar. But when you have, that was on a plane surface, but when you have pillars, then you have to account for this Wenzel. If it is Wenzel, there will be liquid in the gap. If it is Cassie, it will be air in the gap. Now, water has a much higher conductivity than air. So air, we said Cassie-Baxter is desirable, but from the thermal resistance viewpoint, it is not, because air resistance is very high. So it is possible that one will get success when the pillars yield some state in between Cassie-Baxter and Wenzel, not Cassie alone or Wenzel alone. Wenzel has a problem because it is not adequately hydrophobic and it will not get, water will not get drained away. So including these thermal resistances, you can see there is a resistance network modeling. And then you so actually this observation was reported by this person, Miljovic, has worked for a long period on dropwise condensation over extremely tiny pillars. And he has given this data that if it is super hydrophobic, then the heat fluxes will be, heat flux is proportional to water productivity. So will be small, and you probably should be somewhere here, partially wetting regime, somewhere between Wenzel and Cassie to get high heat fluxes. But those are on very small pillars. And that was on a horizontal surface. So we have carried out simulations on a vertical surface. So this validation I will skip. To show you some drop-wise condensation patterns. So this is a time sequence. It's a time-resolved modeling of drop-wise condensation at 25 seconds. Here, see, the drop dynamics is on millisecond scale. Condensation is on the scale of seconds. So if you want to record all the drop dynamics in drop-wise condensation, time step has to be in milliseconds, and you run it for several seconds, 30 seconds, 100 seconds, then wait for days together, even on powerful computers. So you can see here that on a plane surface, this drop is destabilized and it drains away. And then here it is fully, it has left the region, and then that portion would be renucleated. And then the whole process would repeat. In Cassie, the drops formed are smaller because it's a superhydrophobic surface, and the drops get drained. The time scale is also smaller. In 11 seconds, you see instability. And Wenzel is somewhere in between, but the time scale here, because of the pinning effect, you see that it does not become unstable so readily. Drop size is small, but the time scale is long. So if you say my interest is in water production, okay, forget about pillar geometry. So you can see in terms of heat fluxes, actually the plane surface, which is at the top, seems to outperform both Cassie-Baxter and Wenzel. But if you look at water production, which depends both on heat flux in the condensation cycle, just remember that the time period of the condensation cycle comes into picture. So Cassie-Baxter being more frequent, you get a large number of small drops more often. Its productivity, you can see this green line is Cassie-Baxter, is comparable to plane, and Wenzel, so Wenzel is below, Cassie is in between, and plane is above. So our goal is to define, we are searching for pillared surfaces that will outperform a plane surface. So that search is still on. We're trying to combine all the information that we can gather at the drop scale as well as the condensation scale. So it's clear that pillared surfaces can improve hydrophobicity, but you have to be careful because hysteresis may also go up. There is nothing like an equilibrium configuration. Everything depends on the manner in which drop spreads over the pillars. Pillars, specifically pinning, will introduce oscillations, capillary waves, and of course, delay the gravitational instability. So this is at the drop scale. At the condensation scale, we are still searching for the correct dimensions that will help us increase water productivity. So we're engaged in various directions, fabrication techniques, details of drop level dynamics, drop evaporation, condensation experiment. So we are in the process of making an atmospheric water generator, and we want to test out multiple surfaces. So that's it. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions.
Professor Muralidhar has given a nice presentation on the topic, and his topic area is very interesting, and many countries are facing potable water problem. His research will be able to address this problem, I think. A lot of rivers are drying in the world, and I hope this research is going to be very useful for those. I have a few questions about this. Say, for example, how is the thermal conductivity of the surface is affecting the output?
Yeah, you have to cool the surface, and the cooling is on this side, vapor is on this side. So you want, let's say you have cold water at 18 degrees Celsius. You want that 18 to be available to the metal, to the pure vapor or humid air. And if you have a metallic wall in between, then there will be, if the conductivity is low, 18 will become 23 or something before it becomes available to the vapor. It's too much of a temperature rise for the same heat flux if the conductivity were to be lower. If conductivity is high, almost all that 18 is available on the other side.
And the second thing is, how is the number of pillars in the surface is affecting the output? How we will come to know what is the how we can optimize the number of pillars for optimize the output?
Right. So there is this conflict between hysteresis. More pillars will mean more hysteresis, but more pillars will also mean more hydrophobicity. So what is the right combination? Now, it cannot be a purely fluid mechanics kind of an approach, because there are multiple time scales. One is on the drop level, the other is the time scale of condensation. So it has to be, optimization is probably the right word. It will also depend, because condensation details depend on the applied temperature difference. It also depends on whether the pillars have a coating on them, any other long-lasting coatings. So if you have a particular device with a certain temperature of moist air, a temperature of that cold source, thermal source, and you have fixed all the materials, then you may be able to finalize the number of pillars, the pillar height, the pillar cross-section, pitch, all these can be finalized to maximize water productivity. But a single formula that will work for all temperature differences, all vapor conditions, all materials, probably will not happen.
As far as the
case-specific kind of optimization.
As far as the cross-section of the pillar is concerned, you have taken, I think it is a square or rectangular. Cross-section of the pillar. It is a square or rectangular.
Yeah, shape of the pillar is a parameter. So people have, particularly for tall pillars, they recommend that it should be conical. So the cross-section is a circle. So it's connected to the fabrication facility you have. If you do wire cut EDM, what they do is they cut a channel, which is rectangular in shape. Then they will cut a channel this way. So you end up getting the rectangular pillars. but that is the cheapest. Rectangular is the cheapest. If you want any other shape, it will be more expensive.
And how is the ambient temperature is affecting the output? Ambient temperature, how it is affecting the output?
Yeah, see the process of condensation depends on the amount of moisture you have right next to the cold surface. The amount of moisture you have depends, of course, on the saturation of air and temperature. Higher temperature will hold more water. So actually higher warm climates, warm humid is the best for a very successful implementation of AWG.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. No, I can hear him. Yeah.
Sir, based on your presentation, I could make out that it's a multi-objective optimization problem. Then first is the hydrophobicity should be maximized and the hysteresis should be minimized. Now, sir, the question that I want to ask that what should be the constraints? The objective functions are defined that the hydrophobicity increase and minimize the hysteresis. Then what should be the constraints?
Well, let me give you a layperson's perspective, which is that we want to maximize water production. It's not hydrophobicity maximum. The goal is always to maximize water production. Along the way, you want hydrophobicity to be better than, let's say, 160 degrees. Hysteresis below, let's say, 10 degrees. So these will then appear as constraints. And then you will also have the temperatures, cold source, cold sink temperature, and then the saturation of moist air, temperature of the ambient, and then, of course, the cost of manufacturing. At this time, it's somewhat on the higher side. So all these have to be brought in with the... So finally, you say you want to maximize water production while minimizing cost. So probably that is the framework in which that optimization problem will be set up.
Thank you so much, sir, for your gracious presence and for enlightening the audience by your knowledge. Now, I'd like to invite Professor Dr. Basant Singh Sikarwar and Professor Dr. D.K. Singh to present a token of appreciation to Professor Dr. K. Muralidhar. A huge round of applause, please. I further request Professor Dr. Manikant Paswan, Director Slide, to please come on the dais. And I request Professor Dr. Basant Singh Sakarwar to please present him with a token of appreciation.
With us, the Director Slide, Dr. Paswan. Please join us, great.
A huge round of applause for sir, please. Thank you so much, sir.
As we proceed further into disciplinary talk, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Mahendra K. Verma, Department of Physics at IIT Kanpur. He is well-renowned non-linear dynamist whose chief interest lies in theoretical studies of turbulence and non-linear physics. Obtaining his doctoral degree at the University of Maryland, working under the supervision of famed Professors Melvin Goldstein and Aaron Roberts. Sir, now I request you to kindly proceed to plenary talk.
Hello? Thank you. Hello. So let me just start by thanking Vasant and the team for inviting me here. First time for me in the Amity University. And so I'm really grateful for the same. And also, it's quite late, I understand people are hungry. So I will not take too long. But as Vasant said, well, I think we are two, food for thought and food for stomach. So let's get the food for thought as well. Okay, so I am a fluid dynamist. So today I will talk about turbulent diffusion. So you may know simple, I'm going to show by simple mathematics, not complicated one. So perfume, you know, you may apply on your body. That will, what diffuse, what makes it diffuse? Is it thermodynamic diffusion or is it something else? Okay. So we'll answer that question. In fact, you may guess the answer from the title, but I'm going to show you exactly what there are things which are wrong in the textbooks. So that's what I'm going to present in this talk. So this work is very old work. Starting point is by Taylor, V.I. Taylor, with 1921. Okay, so this is the first paper which talks about this. So before, I'll also advertise some books I wrote. So you may not be aware of them, but you may find it useful. So energy transfers, some of the things which I'm going to discuss is in the energy transfer book, the bottommost, this one. Okay. So I wrote several articles, which are popular articles. So there's a nice website. There's a nice website, Research Matters, where I wrote 3 articles, and one of them is this single scale versus multi scale. This talk is basically this. This is a textbook material, so I don't have something very profound to say, but I think some of it is not understood by most people. So I'm just going to highlight this. And this picture is by Van Gogh. If you know, he made this picture. So let's go slowly. So as I said, multi-scale
So what is difference of multi-scale and single scale? I would like some quietness, please. It kind of just gets, so multi-scale versus single scale. So crystal is a single scale phenomenon. And or in a liquid, there is a diffusion, thermodynamic diffusion, which we study in textbooks, statistical physics or thermodynamics. There's a single scale phenomena. Why is it single scale? What is meant by single scale? We have single mean free path length. That is one scale. Okay. And we have sound speed, which is the single time scale, single velocity scale. And we can get the time scale from that, which is length scale by sound speed. Okay. So we have velocities which are different, but they peak around sound speed. I hope this is clear. So these called single scale physics. So Brownian diffusion, actually Brownian diffusion is not in turbulent air. Okay. So there's one misconception. People say that the dust particle in this room is diffusing via Brownian diffusion. Totally incorrect. Brownian diffusion is, in fact, the experiment done was on a water, on a small beaker. Okay, water was still, water was not turbulent, and the still water, the pollen was put by Brown, and then he looked at by microscope how this pollen particles is moving, and he sketched by hand. Okay, when he was a particle here, this particle, this particle, this particle, and he made this sketch. And this is called Brownian motion. You see, in a still water, velocity of the hydrodynamics is 0. Okay, so we can simulate this motion by simple code. So this one, what is the distance traveled in time t? So if you start from some position and let it go, then in time t, the distance traveled is square root t. Okay, this is also people call by drunkard motion of a drunk man. Okay, so the guy is walking on a single straight line, but sometimes he goes forward, sometimes he goes backward. I'm using he. Okay, so sometimes forward, sometimes backward. So on the whole, if you take n steps, the distance traveled from the origin is square root n. Okay, that's the idea, and it is slow. So so by the way, this is not only the particle diffusion, also the diffusion of heat. Because the equation which we use for diffusion in statistical physics is this called diffusion equation. That theta could be temperature or particle. Okay. So kappa is a constant called diffusion constant. And by just dimension analysis, no complicated math, just by dimension analysis, we get this equation in the right hand side. So right, theta by t is the time scale, and kappa theta by L squared. And after this, let's take you can think of perfume. That's the example which I was started with. L is 1 meter, kappa you can take from the textbooks, is 10 power minus 5 meters square per second. So what will be the time? Time is L squared by t, right? That from formula L squared by kappa. L is 1, kappa is 10 power minus 5, so time scale is 10 per 5 seconds. Okay, now if this is the case, then all the perfume industry will go bankrupt, right? I mean, you can't wait for 10 per 5 seconds, which is 3 hours for the perfume to diffuse. Same thing for heater in the winter or cooling from the air conditioner. It will take too long if it is by this equation, right? So this equation is totally inappropriate for atmospheric diffusion. In fact, what takes over is Taylor diffusion. Now let's understand what is Taylor diffusion by simple mathematics. I'm not going to make it too complicated, and it's possible to explain using simple mathematics. So now we come to multi-scale. So you find there are phenomena which is multi-scale. Okay, I will give one example, simple one. This is the example of atmosphere. We can see that we have vortex of different size, right? I can see here the big ones, what we see is the hurricanes, but we have small vortex as well. I mean, you can see this part here, which is not very clearly visible.
This is a projector translation. So, but there are small vortices. Okay, and they are, so that is multi-scale because size of the vortex is ranging from 1,000 kilometer to less than a kilometer, right? And all of them are present. Okay, now in fact human society is also multi-scale. We have a city, then mohalla, then family. So this is multi-scale. In fact, these are the examples of multi-scale physics. And so this is a kind of zoom in. We look at structures here. You can look at it. Normally, with naked eye, we see the large scale structures. But there are small scale structures. If you zoom in, then you'll find there are structures within structures. Okay, so that's what we see. And here, the diffusion is T to the power 3/2. Okay, I'm going to not start getting into this. If you are thinking but seriously, T to the 3/2 is very, very surprising. If you've done any physics course and thought about it, why is T to the 3/2 surprising? Suppose I move with constant speed, what is the distance traveled in time t? It will be velocity times time. So maximum is t. It's called ballistic motion. So if I go with just without thinking, without deviating, follow the goal, and we'll reach a distance t. But this is faster than t. How can something be faster than ballistic? Right? So that's a surprise. And it's faster than ballistic for a simple reason that they're multi-scale velocities. There's no single velocity. There are different layers of velocities. That makes it a thing, but I'm going to dig deeper. Okay, I hope that is the main of the purpose of the talk. So complexity of power law physics. Professor Muralidhar did show one picture which was fractal. So there are, so if it is simple, it's not a fractal, then the mass of a rod, you can take a segment of a rod of size dx, the mass is rho times dx. The mass is proportional to the length. But if I have a fractal, then what is the mass of size, box of size L? It is not L squared in 2D. It is less than L squared. In fact, mass is R to the power alpha. Alpha is less than 2 for 2D. If you look like 3D object, which is our universe, alpha is between, in fact, there are a lot of holes in the universe, right? From Earth, if I go to the sun, there are holes. And from the solar system, I go to the galaxy, then there are holes. So these holes make it fractal, and its dimension is not 3. Mass is not proportional to LQ for the universe. In fact, it is L to the power alpha. Alpha is between 1.5 and 2. Okay, now let's look at turbulence. That's what is the topic of today's conference. So I'm going to just give you a glimpse of Kolmogorov theory of turbulence. It's one of the most beautiful theories of physics. So it's like Newton's law for turbulence. So we think of a coffee cup, and I stir coffee with spoon. So I supply energy at large scale. Okay. So again, scale is coming. Please remember that the scales, and that will generate motion. So energy is supplied at large scale, and this will cascade. So cascade is going from large scale to, look, it turns out it's like a water flowing on a pipe. Now, at this different multi-scale, energy is constant. Energy flow is constant. Now I can make an analogy. This is not the flux of energy in electromagnetic energy crossing a surface. It is very different. The analogy I like to make is the money supply, where we are sitting in the center. Delhi is giving money to states. Now it is not flowing in the real space. In fact, it's all electronic, right? But it is going. Money is going to states. So it's going in that abstract space, which is right now called Fourier space for me. So it's going to states, states to cities, cities to villages. And that is what is multi-scale transfer. And if there is no corruption, then money at level supplied, each level must be constant, right? If I go to village level, it should be the same money which came from the center. that should be happen, but it doesn't reach there. But that's a separate topic. But this is a thing here, a multi-scale transfer from large scale to intermediate and so on. So this is a picture which you may not appreciate it very much, but the flux is constant in the Kolmogorov theory because there is no dissipation in Kolmogorov picture. Okay, so constant flux. Now, as a result, so this is the argument which is made that this velocity of the system will depend on the supply rate which is going through a pipe and length scale. Okay, so there are two parameters which I'm going to use, epsilon and R, and just do dimension analysis like in class 11th or class 12th. So we can do this, and just velocity is L by T and epsilon is energy supply. So all that we do, then alpha is A is 1/3 and B is 1/3. So I'll get this UR. Okay, I think you can go quietly, huh? So that is, I'm okay for people to leave the class. I have no problem. But so this is the formula which is for turbulent flows. UR is epsilon 1/3, R 1/3. So from this Kolmogorov we can do in Fourier space, but I think we'll skip. I can see the impatience in the audience. So this is the Fourier space formula, which is very famous, Kolmogorov 5/3. But this is velocity. So velocity is different at different scale. Unlike thermodynamics, where single velocity was there, which is sound speed. Now from this I can derive Taylor's formula. How do I derive Taylor's formula? In fact, it's quite straightforward. Well, before that I have a slide. So we can make another analogy, how the distance between two particles increase with time, which is 3^3. Super ballistic. So let's take two sisters which are traveling from a village near Kanpur, and they have to reach to different cities in the world. So one sister, one girl goes from village to Lucknow, to Delhi, to Paris. But first distance is traveled by bus, then train, and then flight. Okay. Now second sister is going to Kanpur, then Mumbai to New York. Now they're taking two different paths, but what happens to the distances with time? The distance increases rapidly with time. It is, in fact, is faster than t, because the speed of the vehicle is moving faster with time. Okay, the transport is faster, and that's exactly what happens in turbulence. Our velocity field. Okay, I think we'll skip this one. The velocity is increasing with r. So if you go further distance, you get further faster. If you go to bigger vortex, the speed is bigger, and that is why we get faster. And in fact, you can just do dimensionals again. T is r by ur, and it's r to the 2/3. Now I invert it. So time is r to the 2/3. I invert it. I get r as t to 3/2. So this is a formula which we can derive by simple analysis. This Taylor's transport. Now this is exactly what happens for perfume or for heat. So now let's look at and put this in heat transport. Estimate. So so let's look at this this equation. This is a correct equation for heat transport in atmosphere. That u is the velocity of the hydrodynamics. Okay, u is not the velocity of the particles; is the collective velocity of lot of particles. And so now in this equation, we have three terms. So in the last time, what I did was estimate time by first term and the third. Right, I was using those two terms. And in fact, if you look at this equation, the second term and third term ratio. Second term and third term ratio, you can just do the simple analysis for room gas in this room or air in the room is 10^4. So the nonlinear term, which is u dot grad theta, is dominant compared to the diffusion term. So your estimate should be equating first term with the second term, not first with the third term. And that is what we do. So from this, the time scale will be L by U. L by U. L is 1 meter, but that's what we wanted for fume diffusion. And U is 0.1 meter per second I'm taking. You can take 1 meter per second, but in the room, basically, this is just a number, okay? But around 1 meter per second, so it takes 1 second for perfume to diffuse. Okay, and that is because of that U dot at theta term. Now I'm doing this diffusion at large scale, but I can do diffusion at different scale as well, and that's more complicated, but it is doable. Okay, it's not so complicated. You can just do that formula. So this is one example. This is one example where we are linking hydrodynamics with thermodynamics and contrasting them. Thermodynamics was with velocity 0, the U was 0, and when we have hydrodynamics, then we have U non-zero, and this is velocity of the collective, not so atmosphere, which is we have around us, has two components. One is hydrodynamics, which is the velocity of the flow, and velocity at very small scales. And the thermal speed is 300 meter per second, but the wind speed is around 10 meter per second or 1 meter per second. Okay, so these are two different things, and that leads to a lot of different concepts which we don't think about them very seriously. Is there in textbooks, but but I think right now I'm going to show you. I'll take only 5 more minutes. I think I don't want to be between lunch and you. So this is a picture. We have first the left hand side is a gas, thermodynamic gas, no velocity. The right hand side is the atmosphere. So we have at microscopic level small motion, but also we have the vortex. Okay. Now for the left hand side, we have thermodynamics, and the equation is pressure is rho RT, right? I mean, this is a Boyle's law. But is this law valid for the hydrodynamics? Yes or no? In fact, we know that I apply Bernoulli's law for hydrodynamics, and Bernoulli's law is this: pressure plus kinetic energy plus gravitational energy. So you can drop the gravitational energy for time being. So pressure, in fact, you can see the pressure, if I increase the velocity of a gas, thermodynamic gas, the pressure increases. But there, if you increase the velocity, pressure will decrease, right? So these are two different things, and we need to be careful when we apply this stuff. Now, I think I'm going to just tell you something which we are working on in our lab. This is done by several PhD students. Entropy. Okay, entropy is by the way, entropy is a very tricky subject. In thermodynamics, we just say, well, entropy is simple and so on, but it has huge implications in information theory, quantum turbulence, quantum computers. It is a very complicated object. So let's look at Euler equation. Euler equation is Navier-Stokes equation without viscosity. So in fact, it's not ideal fluid. Well, it's ideal fluid, of course, but it is realizable. The quantum fluid, like superfluids, where viscosity is 0. So it's not that it is not of interest, it is of interest. And here I don't put any force. So there's no external force, no viscosity. So what do you expect about the entropy? So since there's no viscosity, there's no heat generation. If there's no heat generation, then entropy change must be 0. So entropy of the system should remain constant, right? That means order of the system or disorder of the system should not change with time. Okay, so let's look at one picture. So this is a simulation of a 3D Euler flow, and we have a box, periodic box, where no viscosity, no forcing. Okay, now the top one is a cross. I take a cross section, easier to show the structure. The top one is the initial condition, and the bottom one is the fluid evolved at time t equals 60. So I evolve this 3D box, and I start with a pretty nice structure, but then it has become random. So in 3D, it does happen that it starts with structured flow and it becomes random. It looks like second law, right? I mean, second law says we go from order to disorder. Sensible? So that's what we are getting here. And here, entropy is, well, you can say disorder is increasing. But what happened to the previous slide? Previous slide said disorder should not increase, or S entropy should be constant. But this is not thermodynamic entropy. This is some kind of visual order I'm seeing by my naked eye. So this is hydrodynamic order, and it is increasing. But it looks consistent with second law. Well, people know, by the way, second law is, I think, heavily misused as well. People say, my desk is disordered because of second law. I mean, that's quite a bit of extrapolation. But this is okay. I mean, we can say so. But what about 2D turbulence? 2D Euler turbulence, two-dimensional. We run the simulation with 3 initial conditions. This one, this one, this one. So the top, well, we have 3 runs. Huh? So first row, first column, second column, third column. There are 3 different runs. And we start with structures. And look at what happens. We wait for some time. They are still structures. But these are asymptotic state. Now, I don't have time to really convince you that these are asymptotic states. We run it right now to 3000 time steps. There are, I mean, we have a lot of, well, I would say people still have doubt because this is a very important result. Now, in 3D, what happened? It was going from order to disorder. But this thing is going from disorder to order. Now, that looks like a problem with second law, right? I mean, there's something going from disorder to order. And it's a hydrodynamic order. And it is coming like that. So we try to quantify it by hydrodynamic entropy. So we came up with a new formula. So thermodynamic entropy is now is what, around 120 years, as from Boltzmann to, well, more than 150 years, Boltzmann till now. So this one is known very well. But for hydrodynamic entropy, we say that we use Fourier space for energy at different scales. So you can think of K as a scale. So we have energy of the scale divided by total energy, which is probability. I use that as the probability. Now sum of pk will be 1 because sum of ek is E. And then I apply Shannon's formula. This is a very important thing. There are some students from computer science and electrical engineering. You might have seen this formula. This is called Shannon's formula for entropy. So, it is minus pk log pk. So I just sum it up and compute entropy. Then, so now let's use this formula for these 2 systems, 3D Euler and 2D Euler. So 3D Euler, entropy, that formula which I was using, it is increasing. Okay, it is consistent because things were going from order to disorder. So entropy, it is going to 15.9, which is the maximum possible entropy. Now, I don't have time to get into it, and I'm not sure you are interested in it. But this is, you can get a formula for maximum possible entropy, and that is where it reaches. Well, maximum possible entropy happens when probability is equal for every mode. And that's what it gets there. It's no big deal. But in 2D, we apply this to 3 systems, and we find that entropy, at least for some time, you can look at run A, which is the first column. Run A entropy is decreasing for period of duration. So you see this decreasing with time. Because things are getting more ordered. That was more disordered, the top one, initial condition, and final state, asymptotic state is more ordered. So this is what we have. So in fact, in hydrodynamics, there are things which are emerging. It's an emergent phenomena, if you want to use the word in complex systems, which are different than microscopic physics. So we had pressure, we have entropy, and this diffusion. So lot of this stuff which are statistical physics are based on microscopic picture or from equilibrium picture, but they are no more true in hydrodynamics. Now, at some point you say, well, I'm able to design aeroplane, I'm able to design air conditioner, what's big deal? I don't care about it. But it turns out there are some questions which are staring at us. And I think at least as a physicist, I like to, we need to solve them. Okay, that's what is a thing. So I think I'm going to close with this. So U equal to 0 is thermodynamic diffusion. So the Brown's experiment is thermodynamic diffusion. Nothing wrong with it, but that is not applicable for dust particle in this room. Wrong thing in the textbooks. Okay, that's something which we should change in the textbooks. U large or U not equal to 0, significant. If you U small, then it's okay to apply thermodynamics. But when U is significant, then turbulent diffusion, and which is very different than thermodynamic diffusion. Then we have atmospheric diffusion is multi-scale. I think that's something which is known, but this is a nice picture. In fact, in economics also, most of the models are single scale models, but I think one can use this multi-scale model. And hydrodynamics is a macroscopic description, is a multi-scale description, especially the turbulent flows. And it requires careful look. And I gave you only this example of pressure and entropy. Okay. Okay, I think with this I will end and we can go for lunch after this. I'm happy to take questions if you have it.
Any question? Students, any question?
रुक जाइए, देखो क्वेश्चन होगा तो दिखाना पड़ेगा. Okay, no question.
Any yes?
Yeah. So 2 questions. No. We take the output of the flow and compute spectrum. From that, we compute entropy. We don't have a differential equation for entropy. PDE, we don't have it. It's a good thing to look for, but it is complicated at the moment. He has a question.
Flow is in layers. So
layered.
Yeah, each layer have different velocity. So what is the effect of instability which is generated between 2 layers?
So it's a good question. So there's a shear layer, and you may expect the shear layer to become unstable. That's what I think you're looking for. But it's not unstable because the energy, the fluctuations are feeding that layer. So in some sense, it's like, okay, an analogy I like to make is that these fat companies are getting richer and richer. They're not getting unstable because the money is going from Apple company, people are buying computers and it just goes there. So the same thing happens here. It's a multi-scale, it's not a single scale instability problem. In fact, we have a full analysis, energy is going from small scale to large scale. Yeah, I think he has a question. Okay. Right. That's I can say openly here. I'm not in US. It's Bankam. I mean, everybody thinks my science is new science. Things are built over past works. Of course, there are some nice innovations, but you can't say it's Newton's law. I mean, I think I've seen his statements. He's exaggerated.
Okay. Just one question.
Yeah.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Very good talk. You have tried to link the hydrodynamic with the thermodynamics.
Right.
So just my one question is that we know that most of the time we try to link the cause and effect.
Right.
So what is your version? Hydrodynamic is the cause and thermodynamic is the effect, or thermodynamic is the cause and hydrodynamic is the effect? Can you throw light?
Actually, yes, it's a interesting question. It's a very important question. So, actually, it's a multi-scale. Well, the flow in the air, in the atmosphere, is it has a multi-scale causation. For example, the sun is causing this EDs, and that is going down to small scale. I do believe. For example, it's like a large scale is driving the small scales, except some systems where it happens the other way around. But to realize the large scale, we need the small scales. I mean, you can't have air without atoms and molecules. So I think driving is from, or rather, this whole picture comes by large scale driving or large scale stuff, but its realization is by construction from small scale towards large scale. So I think it's a pretty, I don't know, that's the answer I'd like to give.
Sir, thank you very much. I have a last question, I think. Any other question from student side? So, okay, sir. So you saw one is a thermodynamics gas, another you said hydrodynamics fluid.
Right.
Where one you say that PV is equal to RT means ideal gas of equation. Definitely pressure you link with the density and temperature. Other side you link the pressure with velocity. You simply write about Bernoulli equations like this. Definitely the other side there is no heat transfer because the fluid is stationary and fluid is also incompressible because there is no link of the pressure with the density like ideal gas of equation kind of these things. So sir, and why conclusion you reported that why hydrodynamics entropy is decreasing? Why? With respect to time.
So look, there's no proof that entropy should increase. Second law is the conjecture.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, indeed, I think we see if a thermodynamic gas, we cannot transport heat from cold to hot.
Yes.
That doesn't happen. It may happen for some time.
Okay.
But it is, we can't extrapolate that to saying that it cannot happen at all scales or it cannot happen at large scales. For example, I can definitely send heat from cold to bottom by blowing cold air into, we can construct stuff by a hydrodynamic picture. So what I'm saying is, it is a very good microscopic law. Its extrapolation to bigger scale is a problem. For example, in fact, you can look at very famous people saying that the whole universe is going to disorder. I disagree with that actually, well, humbly, because the universe is bigger than thermodynamic picture.
Okay, sir.
There are gravitational interaction
Yes,
of large stuff. So that extrapolation is, there's no proof, but it's made because thermodynamics. Yeah, so that is my answer. So it's there's no definite answer for entropy for a large scale. In fact, entropy is not even defined for Euler equation.
Yes.
You see, thermodynamic entropy, you are failing to
Yes, sir.
define order.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your gracious presence and humbling us with your knowledge. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Basant Singh to felicitate Dr. Mahendra K. Verma with full honors.
Thank you, sir. We are privileged to have amongst us Professor Dr. Andalip Tariq, Department Head and HAL Chair Professor of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering Department, IIT Roorkee. He is widely respected for his research work and has organized several national and international workshops, delivered many invited talks at various prestigious institutions, and published many high-impact papers in international journals. We welcome you for the talk, sir.
A round of applause, please.
Okay. I think we are running late. I will just give a glimpse, try to summarize it, although it was a lengthy talk. So just these are the research interests on which we are working upon. And we have the acquaintance with certain optical techniques, and these are the basic strength. And on that basis, we are doing the different theme of the research. And one of the theme I have picked it, and that we are going to deliver the talk upon. As far as the research philosophy is concerned, I will say that we have the strong faith that there is a very important proverb that God is in details. What we say कि शंकर शंकर में कन कन में शंकर है, मतलब जर्रे जर्रे में खुदा है. So basically the thing is that we can see that this is a typical pictorial representation flow around a sphere. If we will see from the 2D perspective, it will look something like this. Okay. And the same, if we will see it in detail from the volumetric basis, the entire dimension get changed. So that shows that the reality is that the understanding requires the deep detail insight. And for that way, we are tracking the different engineering problem at our laboratories. That is the aerodynamic visualization thermal analysis lab. And on these many set of things, I have just picked one of the thing. And the idea is here to introduce, again, I have not go in detail about the technical things. I will just give a complete journey of one of the theme on which we are working from last, say, we can say 15 to 20 years. The idea is just to give the introduction, educate, inspire the young minds. And with this, okay. Sorry. I come from a small village, so I can say that this was my first concept of boundary from the childhood days when we see the bank of the river, which is at the outer periphery of the village. So we can see that okay, this is where the village ends, and that we say that this is the boundary. That we can say that is a layman understanding about the boundary. And later, when we come deep into the engineering side, then we came to know that any region that is governed by a differential set of equations, and the boundary value is this we define as the boundary basically. This is the engineering concept, mathematical concept. Now, I will ask, okay, just we can concentrate on these three set of images. This is the first images that is related with the flow over a flat plate. It is the flat plate at the dark side, and the top is the flow is taking place. And again, there is a boundary. This is a one, we can say, interface. Second image I have just collected from the NASA spacecraft mission, and they have captured the Earth from the solar system when the satellite is moving on. Again, we can say this is another understanding about the boundary. We can see the third images. This is entirely a different field. That is the flow, the heat interacting between two surfaces when they are in contact. The upper one is the heated surface. The bottom one is the cooled surface. And heat is flowing from top to bottom. Again, it is creating a kind of boundary. So what I can conclude it, basically it is nothing, the boundary basically, I can say it is all about the interface. And I will just show you that very interesting pictorial representation. This is the galaxy image, and it is consisting of several interfaces. One thing is overlapping another, and everything has its own orbit basically. So we try to, what we see the boundary, that is our limitation. Basically, it is the interface. From there, the next thing is getting started. So with this, it is, we can say it is not the question of boundary, it is all interface. And the today talk, which I have collected, and the theme is that my own journey with the heat transfer between the interface, we can say, or we can say between one body to the another body, there will be boundary interface, and how the heat flows in. So we are tracking this problem from since, and this is of very immense importance basically. The importance, we can say that the major failure for most of the engineering system, that is due to the temperature. And this summarizes that vibration, humidity, dust, and all that. This is basically a very limited role as far as the temperature is concerned. So then we can understand that how important is that we have to understand interfacial heat transfer, and that is one of the motivating factor. And any interface, one surface, how we feel that how smooth it can be, when we will see from the microscopic level, it will look like that a lot of asperities at the micron levels are there. And when the upper surface come into contact, what happens? The heat will, if the one surface is at one temperature and another is at the another temperature, the heat will seep through from the bottom to top to bottom, depending upon the temperature gradient. This is the microscopic view. And what happens? This heat flow, basically whatsoever is happening. I think the dark was okay. Okay. The conduction, the radiation and the convection is taking place, and that is depending upon the medium, depending upon the contact nature, these are playing the different role, and depending upon the temperatures also. So in that, the TCC comes into picture. The resistance offered, what happens basically, due to the limited contact, actually what happens at the interface, the real contact area is, as an estimate, it is not more than 2 to 5%. So what happens, it occurs, there exists a greater temperature heat flow resistance, and the opposite of that, typically in heat transfer books, it is defined as the thermal contact conductance. So this, the talk of the today talk is related with the estimation of the thermal contact conductance across different interfaces. It has enormous engineering applications wherever there is a contact. In reality, all the engineering system, all the real life situation, there is a different kind of contacts. Starting from, this is the simple piston cylinder, the electronics chips, supercomputers, nuclear reactors. Even we go for the implant of the knee replacement surgery, there also the patient comfort depends upon the interfacial heat transfer. He can feel the hot spots, discomfort, lot of things are there, gas turbine blade cooling. So everywhere, we can say from automotive to the biomedicine, the interfacial heat transfer play a very greater role. And recently, the era of the modern electric vehicles, the battery, the lot of contacts are there, lot of energy get dissipated. And here also, it has a very strong implication, and that makes this study very useful. Now, the difficulty is that why it is so difficult to tame the TCC. Basically, inherently, it is inverse. It cannot be directly measured. Directly or indirectly measured means that we can measure the temperature directly. We can measure the velocity directly. But TCC, there is no instrument directly. We cannot measure it. That is the difficulty. And it is a coupled problem. It depends upon the mechanical properties, thermomechanical properties, deformation, hardness, thermal conductivity, all it is a couple problem. So that makes is a very difficult task. It requires different approaches. And the challenges, we can say that, what are the challenges? Fundamentally, it is just Q, delta T, and heat flux, real contact area. The estimation of the heat flux to capture the heat flux, that is one of the difficulty. Delta T, precise estimation, that makes it difficult. Again, real contact area cannot be estimated, that make it difficult. So these are the things that makes this very difficult problem. And as I said, it is a couple problem, and no analytical solution do exist. Experimentation is one of the most important, and we can say only reliable tool to get the real estimate about the TCC. And it is a multi-scale problem, because we are at one level, we are dealing with the roughness of the micron size, and we are dealing the gross things. So that makes it a very difficult problem. And now the factor that influences the contact conductance, that are the geometry, the load, the material, the cyclic nature, the thermal loading, lot of other influencing parameters are there. That is directly or indirectly making it a difficult choice, and we have to do the study in a very systematic manner. And as I said, that if the vacuum is there, again, it will be a spot conductance. If there is a fluid in between, air, liquid, or anything, again, convection will play a role. So these are the factors. And we started our journey with one of the problem with the bark, basically long back in 2008. And we designed one of the setup basically to estimate the TCC between some of the routinely available engineering materials. This is a kind of setup that shows two specimens are in contact. From one side, the heat is flowing, it is getting heated, and the bottom is draining the heat. And then we measure the axial temperature variation through these fine thermocouples. And this is the most conventional, easy, and simple approach. And that gives a gross understanding about the TCC values. That we did it. And then again, I am not going in detail about the results and all that. The only thing is that I will like to highlight that we can see that with the temperature gradient at the interface, there exists an enormous temperature jump. And generally this temperature jump can be of the order of say 15 to 20%. Means if we are working with 1000 degrees centigrade, so within few microns, how smooth the surface may be, it might be possible that 200 to 250 degrees centigrade temperature drop may occur. That is very important that we have to study this area so that we can estimate, understand the interfacial heat transfer problem. And in first phase, we did lots of experimental, very good quality experiment, gross experiment, collected lot of database. And we studied the different effect of different parameters, means the load, the material, the roughness, and try to track by using simple Q delta T and A formula, what is basically TCC. So this we have concluded with a lot of experiment has been done, the loading effect, the temperature effect, and then the material effect, all things has been tracked in a very systematic and reliable manner. So this was the first phase of journey, and we got an overall perspective. Okay, if this is the material, this is the roughness, this is the loading condition. So we were in a position to give certain understanding, certain values and certain correlations. And these correlations might be very important for the design engineers who are working in that field, because numerically it is not possible to estimate it. So that was the first stage, we can say that. And we did different nature of contact also. As I said, in the knee replacement, again, circular and the circular contacts are there, circular flat contacts are there. So a lot of things has been done in that direction. And again, very interesting observation was that it is directional effect also. If means from one material to another, if we will change the direction of the heat flow, again TCC will get influence. That we documented it. And hysteresis also. So these are the engineering quantities which we have tracked it. And we have documented all that. Load cycling means number of load cycling, after that it get stabilized. So this is about the gross picture, thermal loading. And we can say in next phase, again, what was the difficulty that these all steady state experiment were long steady state experiment. It takes 4, 6, 8 hours continuously run. So that makes it very difficult to perform the experiment under a controlled environmental condition. So what we thought, okay, we can go for the another approach, that is the transient approach. With the very limited span experiment, say 1 minute, 60 seconds, 5 seconds, something like that. And for that we have worked, and we started working with the, again, I will just highlight that. Basically TCC is inherently inverse, and we applied the inverse heat transfer we took as a inverse heat transfer problem. And for that we have estimated the TCC by using certain transient set of experiment. This is simple conduction modeling for the transient mathematical conduction equation that became the basis, and we have implemented this approach. And we have standardized all the database methodology with our steady state run. So this was the second stage. And we did a standardization of this methodology against the steady state one. And we documented that, okay, this is reliable, and it can give a solution that with a very lesser span of time, we can get a correct, or we can say reasonably correct estimate of the TCC. And again, as I said, there are multiple sensors, lot of thermocouples was there inserted in between. So what we did it, every thermocouple has certain uncertainty error. So other way of that, okay, by using a single sensor method, we have developed that methodology. And those people who are working in the heat transfer field, this is semi-infinite conduction modeling. On that basis, we have proposed certain methodology and find out the estimation of the TCC for the same kind of experiment which we did by using the steady state run. So this methodology we have implemented, standardized. Now we are finishing this voyage the second phase, that we understood certain things. Okay, this is the way how to estimate the TCC. This will be the value under this kind of conditions. Now we took a pause. Okay, what we are doing it, how much correct it is, how much accurate it is. And most of the time what happens, whenever we do certain things, we get some solution, and in single shot we get the neat and very plausible explanation that this is right. Once we go deep into it, then we analyze that lot of complexities, lot of approximation, lot of errors are there, and that make it a second phase, that okay, to refine it further so that we can understand the truth. So in this one, we have to think about, okay, what are the basic things we should look for it? Is the thermocouple based analysis is correct? Truth? Yes, it is reliable, suitable for the gross design requirement, but it modifies the thermal behavior of the object. That is one of the limitation. Size constraints are there, and since it is not in a position, it has certain spatial resolution, and we are trying to capture the temperature jump at the interface. Okay. We are trying to jump at the interface. For that, we have to pick certain optical techniques. I think we did understanding that it is not suitable for many of the engineering problems where we have to go for the optical things. So with that one, we have got in the third phase that we have tried to implement certain optical technique. Optical techniques means optical thermographic technique, which can map the temperature pattern with a greater spatial resolution as well as the temporal resolution. So in that journey, we have modified the setup, the approach, and we have used some kind of specimen, and we have implemented one of the very beautiful technique, that is the liquid crystal thermography, that captures the temperature patterns, and we have tracked that one. This was very exciting experiment, we can say that. And with this 2D temperature contours, we were able to resolve many of the interesting things which we were not able to resolve by using the thermocouples. So this we did it, the transient measurement, and we can see that again, very interesting observation is there. Generally we say that okay, Fourier conduction law hold good for the gross object. It is linear variation, but at the interface we notice certain curvatures. So that is one of the very interesting observation that we have found it, and we started digging into it, and I think we have to finish it. So that interfacial temperature difference, we have tried to implement that there is any law for it or there is no law for it. So in that way, this is the microscopic level. We can see that within certain microns how the temperature, thermal temperature layers are there. Basically, it is changing from one resolution to the another resolution. Flat, convex, cylinder flat, and all that. And here we just thought to try to, as just we are always trying to link the hydrodynamic with the thermodynamic or heat transfer, the cause and effect relationship. So in the boundary layer theory, we all know that whenever we talk about the boundary layer, there are within the boundary layer, we try to fix in three distinct regions, the laminar and the transitional and the turbulent region. So we thought, why not try to see the temperature, interfacial temperature gradient from that perspective and try to correlate, do there exist certain similarity. So in that way, we plotted the temperature variation across the interface, and we found that very interesting observation, it is slightly following the similar kind of pattern. And we did some experiment with some of the set basically, but there, it has pointed out that there exists certain analogy, but to make it a law, we need a broader set of data set. For that, we started working upon, I will just skip the methodology part, and we thought, okay, is it going to work upon or it is not going to work upon? So for that, we require much more evidence. With single set of experiment, with certain materials, certain combination. It is not a correct idea always to generalize the things. So with that in mind, we started our journey and we moved ahead. We have tracked the same TCC experiment with very high temperatures in run, say of the order of say 1000 degrees centigrade. At the interface, we attained 500 degrees centigrade with lot of if but and lot of failures. We were successfully designed a setup, very interesting setup basically. And we did the experiment, the similar kind of experiment with the gaseous and under vacuum condition at high temperature and collected lot of database. Again, I am not going in detail. I will just summarize the gross picture. We have collected lot of data set with a very reasonable accuracy. And then we found that, okay, visualization is going to give us one of the very interesting understanding, a fundamental understanding. And we all know that there was a very famous painting of the Leonardo da Vinci, which we always quote that. But most of the time, people are not that intelligent. For that, we need certain experiment. We need certain visualization tools, basically. We did the experiment. This, I will show it. Just 5 minutes, I will finish it. We can see that how the heat is flowing. We can see the upper part is heated, lower part is cooled basically, and it is tracking the temperature. And we tracked that one. And very importantly, we have gone with recently, again, it has not been reported. This is all experimental database. By using the IR thermography, we tried to track the heat lines, which is generally routinely people are using in the convective heat transfer. We produce the heat lines, and that has given us a lot of insight how to explain the data. And with that, I can say that with all the different optical thermographic technique we are working upon. And again, we at high temperature also we notice that kind of non-linear behavior at the interface. That is basically the classical Fourier law is not implementing very correctly. And now the last part is that why we are doing so much experiment basically. The thing is that we are looking for a law, a universal law kind of thing, as we have already established by hundreds and 150 years of experiment, that is law of the bar. So for that, we are working consistently from last 15 years. We are calculating, we are getting the high quality database, and we are trying to track from 10K to 1000K, we can say. Means 10 Kelvin to the 1000 Kelvin means a very high temperature. And we are trying to generate very reliable set of data set. And this low temperature experiment, we started doing it at the cryogenic temperature. We were able to do the things in our laboratory. And it has enormous implication in the spacecraft heat transfer analysis, basically. This is one of the setup. And we did, I will skip that detail part, but I will conclude that we calculated the TCC at extremely low temperature under vacuum condition, say 10K, 50K, 100K, something of that. We have standardized the setup, lot of experiment we did it, and then we have established that methodology and we created lot of database. And again, we are looking to plot all these things on the log scale. So that is the things what right now we are working upon. And we have worked with certain experimental data validation with the numerical model. For that, we did certain numerical analysis also at the microscopic level and try to find out the real contact area. And with this, I can say that certain primitive works are going on. By using certain numerical approach, are we in a position to capture the contact mechanics correctly and then the heat transfer at the interface. We have done that one. Some heat lines, we were able to capture it. And then I can summarize that what we are doing it. Basically, we are doing this journey, modeling, numerical simulation, computational heat transfer, experimentation, steady state experimentation, inverse heat transfer, and trying to understand it. I can say that it is a difficult field, but not impossible. And this is a very beautiful. We all know that ant is one of the finest creature that can handle the 500 times more than the weight of its own. And we find that humans being are very intelligent, but we cannot carry. Suppose our weight is 70 kg, even we cannot lift the 70 kg. But this is the motivational thing, and we finish this journey. That again, the next question is that why we are doing it. Without that also we can explain many things, but certainly it is the journey. We can enhance the understanding so that we can go deep into it and finish that one. I think on that note, we will finish it, and some of the pictorial representation of our lab, basically, we will show that we are working on the fundamental problem, the fluid mechanics and heat transfer. We are also working with the gas turbine blade cooling in our lab. These are the experimental setup of our students, basically. Most of the time, our approach is to take the optical measurement so that we can go deep into it, do the detailed analysis, and try to understand the mechanism. Correlating the cause and the effect relationship. We have worked with the matrix cooling. That is also one of the very interesting area in our laboratory. Every times we are doing the optical imaging by using certain flow measurement techniques and thermal measurement techniques. And this is matrix cooling on which we are working. And I think recently we have started working on the flow over the bend also. We have clubbed the flow data with the heat transfer data, tried to correlate it. And I think I will just glimpse it, some nuclear safety research in our lab. Again, the optical approach, we are doing it at high temperatures. And I think we will just give the acknowledgement. Real heroes are our students, basically. And on that note, we finish.
Very limited. No. It is good. But this is just.
Thank you, sir. I would like to call Dr. Basant Singh Sikalwar to felicitate Professor Dr. Anmol Tariq.
Huge round of applause, please. Thank you, sir. Now I'd like to request all dignitaries, faculties and students to kindly move to the venue for lunch. After lunch, we'll be proceeding with keynote talks and technical sessions in F1 MDP room and F3 MDP room. Thank you so much.